All right, Krug Show on a Saturday. Hope everybody's having a fantastic day. Welcome to June 6th. It's my youngest kid's birthday. He's 16. Happy birthday to the great Christopher Kruger. That's my brother's name. I named my youngest boy after my brother, and he is a joy. So happy 16th to the youngest Krug, who's very, very cool. He's at his job today. He's working at a grocery store. He's got his summer job. Anyway, we're going to talk a lot of Niners. As you can see, it's Krug and the coach. Coach, how you doing? Oh, he's not here. No, Coach. Coach is on his way. Coach was at a wedding. You know, it's off season, and I told him, hey, man, hit your wedding. We'll push it back a little bit. So we pushed it back from 10:30, which is our normal time, to 11. And then he said, man, I'm probably not going to be there till about 2:45, 3 o'clock. So I'm like, well, I don't want to push it back any further. And I know I got people waiting, and I feeling bad. I see your guys' comments. So let's just fire away right now. We'll start without Coach. We'll finish with the coach. Somehow we'll come up with something. Welcome. It's the Krug Show. Off and running on a Saturday. Welcome to the Krug Show, brought to you by Pig and a Pickle. The best barbecue in all of Northern California is Pig and a Pickle. Turn it up. Thank you to Damon and Mary. Thank you to the good people at Pig and a Pickle. We love Pig and a Pickle. Go get the brisket. Go get the brisket chili. It's all amazing. Thank you to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krug Show. Third location coming later on this year in Petaluma. Also, the Krug Show is presented by PrizePicks, America's #1 sports picks app. PrizePicks is super simple. You just pick more or less on your player stats or even game outcomes and build your lineup. It's available in most states, including California. So if you haven't checked it out yet, use code HMA. And when you play $5, you're going to get $50 in lineups instantly. All right, we are fired up. It is June, and we got the downtime between OTAs and training camp, and it's always a challenging time. It's always like, hey, what are we gonna do? The one thing I don't want to do is I don't want to spam you with a bunch of crap. It's not my thing. Kev doesn't want to do that. I don't want to do that. So we decided to think outside the box, and we reached out. We had Alex Smith on the show the other day, and we're going to reach out to some other ex-Niners, maybe do some alumni stuff between now and then. I'm also going to kind of reach out to some of the coaches of some of the players that the Niners drafted and see if we can do some deep dives, kind of get in the Guy Haberman lane there a little bit. He's been having some of the coaches on. I think that's some pretty good content. I think I could definitely add something to the conversation on that front. So we're going to do some of that. We may do a few more call-in shows, and without the coach here right now, maybe we could do that as well. We could put the call-in thing. I've got a bunch of things I want to get to, but I'll put the call-in deal in the if I can remember how to do that. How do I do that? Save the link, share the link. Oh, wait a second. I've done it so many times. I've got to put the call-in link in the chat. So we'll do that. Maybe we won't do it right now, but we'll get into that. I want to get to some of the star chats right out of the chute. We got this one from David Esger. Larry, really loved the Alex Smith interview. Well done. Alex Smith is an inspiration. He really is, man. He really is. And I could have gone on for another hour with Alex, and he probably would have gone with it, but I just – I think we were already there at like 50 minutes, and I was like, wow, this guy's already given me a lot of his time. It was a lot of fun. I wanted to hit on just, the whole career in a nutshell. I mean, I was there with him on draft night. I did a TV show with him that night, and we talked about that. We talked a little bit about just the maturity as a young man to let Kaepernick kind of walk into your job. I mean, and nothing you could do about it, but there was no bitterness. There was no resentment. So mature, handled that so perfectly. And then, he obviously all those rough years, he didn't really come of age till his 7th year. Um, it's just just a rough career to start. And then he meets Harbaugh and he resuscitates his career. He goes to Kansas City. He kind of figures it all out, wins goes to 3 Pro Bowls and looks like he's on his way to maybe winning a Super Bowl there. And they say, you know what? We need our future quarterback. And then he gets Mahomes. And then there's Mahomes. Mahomes watched Alex for a full year. That definitely helped Mahomes be Mahomes. Just what Alex contributed to Kaepernick helped Kaepernick. What Alex contributed to Mahomes helped Mahomes. We talked about him coaching maybe. You make a certain amount of money and it's like you've got family and you've given so much of your life already to the sport of football. Do you really want to give more by coaching? It's like you would if you didn't have so much money in the bank. And it's like if you got money in the bank, why would you work hundreds of hours a week? Maybe when your kids are grown up, and I think Alex would be a phenomenal head coach. I think he would be a phenomenal offensive coordinator. I think he would be maybe the greatest quarterback coach that ever lived. This guy can literally talk about being non-functional and then being the most efficient quarterback in the game. I mean, his career really had that kind of a trajectory. So anyway, it's good stuff. Go check it out. And we'll give you a couple clips because Coach Yak has jumped on it and actually Alex Smith is trending right now. Alex Smith calls Brock Purdy an elite quarterback with Super Bowl potential. That was from our interview. Now Alex is trending, but that's more the power of Coach Yak, I think, than our YouTube channel. But I asked Alex Smith if he thinks Brock Purdy will win a Super Bowl, and he said, yeah, I think he's got a great chance. This is a guy that I think will always give you a chance to be in contention. Look at last year. If that's not an example, they had no business doing what they did last year, given all the adversity and who they were playing against. Look at the division. I still think you can make an argument that Kyle Shanahan is coach of the year last year with the job he did, which I agree with. Look at the way Brock played. Again, he's always going to give you a chance versus anybody. Still think Brock's best days are ahead. And I think he's got the skill set to play high-level football for a long time. So that's at least how Alex sees it. I know there's a lot of Niner people right now who are really – I don't know if it's just they're looking for clicks or banging the drum on Purdy's not it, Purdy's this. It's like, guys, you took the big L when you went Trey Lance is better than Purdy. I'd either sit this dance out or go with the flow. I don't think I'd be trying to prove to people a second time that you're wrong. Because you know what? This guy's getting ready to launch. And I would say if you're kind of on Purdy, come aboard. Because if you don't, I think you're going to look bad. You're going to look really bad. We'll get into more on that in a minute, why I believe that. But let's share the screen. And thank you, David. And thank you for that, by the way. It's like do great content and then have people tell you it's great content and give you money for it. Wow. I mean, that's just an unbelievable thing. And we got this one, by the way, as well from Dan. He says, Dan, that's a lot there. Krug, stop the Purdy glaze. The whole hood knows he's top 11 to 17 in the league. And we split with the strength of schedule. What is that? Rams 1-1. Love the show. Dan -1-EL. You Venmoing me? Is that your Venmo account? It looks like a Venmo address right there at the end. Stop the Purdy glaze. Sorry. I mean, I think that's pretty good. And I think if you're really going at him, I think you're gonna look bad eventually. Tribe, Larry is almost getting as bad as Lombardi, getting his blank hard over guys like Sky Moore and Romello. Sky Moore had a great year last year, and then he got rewarded in free agency. I just threw this one up just because, just the nice imagery. People just angry. What's so wrong with Lombardi, by the way? Lombardi's not a bad guy. Come on. He's very pro, but he's not a bad guy. Chench O, am I delusional for thinking this 49er team is significantly better than last year, especially in the wide receiver room and D-line? We're going to go into that right now. No, I don't think you're delusional. I think they are better. They're clearly better. Are they as improved as they need to be to win it all, which is ultimately what really all any of us care about at the end of the day? That is TBD. All right. So welcome to the Krug Show on a Saturday. We're off and running, and it's going to be kind of a touch and go extravaganza till the coach arrives. But I do have some things I want to get into. One I want to share for you. Here's Smith yesterday with me on this, and we'll just play a one cut. And it wasn't, the whole thing wasn't about Purdy. It was more about Smith. But I did want to ask him about Purdy because I know how much everybody cares about Purdy, and this guy's a great analyst, maybe one of the best going. If I didn't ask him about Brock, it'd be ridiculous. I know he lives here. I know he sees a lot of Brock. Here's the segment. It'd be nice if I turned up the volume. Bright and early on a Saturday. Not really, but you know what I'm saying. Brock does layer the football incredibly well, and he throws with a lot of anticipation. But, you know, what stands out? Because you see things that we don't see at the quarterback position. What stood out when you first saw him? What stands out as you've seen him develop?
Man, there's a lot there, Larry. Like, first off, you said it. I mean, this is a guy that I think, you know, unlike me, again, I go back to being, I was a 20-year-old kid. I played 2 years at the collegiate level, every single snap in the shotgun. I never even had a tight end ever, right? Like, it was like 5 wides and such a unique thing. And here's a guy that had played 4 years at high level college, like super mature, had done so much. This guy was also, like, I think people forget, obviously such a good athlete, right? Like, rushed for 1,000 yards. He's just seen a lot of football and was so prepared. And then again, like, to be like to flip it on my position, right? Here I am, the number 1 pick. This guy's the last pick in the draft.
Right.
And on such a short leash, right? Like, you just don't. I was afforded to make 1,000 mistakes, right? And they still had to keep me around. And this guy's obviously just on the total other opposite end of that. And so, but so prepared, and I think had such great perspective on the game, right? Like, this is a guy that could already process and compartmentalize, right? I think given everything that he had been through, and I think naturally he's also just a super mature kid. Like anybody that's ever been around Brock, like, I'm blown away. Like, when I would talk to him for the first time, I'm like, are you like 35 or 40, right? Like, he just seems so much older. He has such great perspective on things. But since he's been playing, right? And this is what I think people just don't realize. This guy pushes the ball downfield. When you look at the down the field stats from a quarterback, as far as attempts, completions, accuracy, I mean, this guy leads the league in the NFL every year in every one of those categories, right? And like, this is the guy that battled the game manager thing, right? Like, he's just the product of the system, right? It just couldn't be further from the truth. This guy's a phenomenal player. And you want to talk about risk taker, right? Like, to layer these balls over the middle, to throw them as early as he does, like, it takes guts, right? There's trust that you have to have, like, unflinching trust to turn these balls loose in an NFL game. Like, knowing your vision's obscured, right? You're hoping the guy's in there where he's supposed to be. And this guy just does it time and time again, right? And that's a gift. I know it took me a long time to ever develop that kind of trust and risk taking, to play with that kind of anticipation. And this guy just has it, and it's super rare. Right. You even mentioned in practice, like, you go out there, this guy's willing to try and make the plays and push the envelope. And I think it's truly special. Right. And then you combine that with, I think all Niner fans know it now, what a great athlete this guy is too, in his own right. Like, how good he is at extending plays. He can do the improvisation thing too, as well as play from the pocket.
Brock does. So there you go. I mean, that's just a ridiculous. Anybody who's anti Brock Purdy, I mean, that thing's just a right to the chops right there. I mean, Alex Smith just basically saying that this guy's not just good, he's great. I know it makes a lot of people sick to hear that, because it's like, oh God, there's this whole industry of Brock sucks, especially in the we need to get clicks month of June. There's a lot of that. I want to throw out the Warren Sharp thing because I think this is kind of interesting. A couple stats, and then talking about Alex, they're just kind of referencing Brock and where he is statistically. This is Warren Sharp tweet. Best quarterbacks on third and fourth down last year. Basically the money downs. This is it right here. Here are the guys who played the money, quarterback is about what you do on third down. Quarterback's on what you do on fourth down. Do you keep your team on the field? Do you keep or is here comes Corliss Waitman or whoever's going to punt, Boomeister for the Niners this year? That's it. Best quarterbacks on third and fourth down last year kind of tell you who the best quarterbacks in football were. And that's it. Look at last year. Brock Purdy, number 1. Joe Burrow, who's, I think, maybe the best quarterback there is. I don't know. I mean, he's pretty damn good. Number 2. Drake May had a freakishly efficient, great year for a young quarterback with mobility. He really played well. I mean, you got to respect that. That's why he's number 3 there. Jordan Love is the name that surprised me on this one. Daniel Jones, we knew had a really good bust out year with the Colts. I mean, he just played great ball until he tore the Achilles. The rest of the top 10, Dak Prescott, Jared Goff, Josh Allen, who probably is the best right now, him and Mahomes. Mahomes obviously was down at 11 there. Stafford, unbelievably, is 9 on that list. That's interesting. That probably is some statistical oddity. Mac Jones on the list at 15. Let's see who's on the bottom of the list. Who are the worst quarterbacks? Worst quarterbacks in the league on third and fourth down. Brady Cook. Well, he's a part-timer. Davis Mills, former Stanford quarterback. Dylan Gabriel. I like how Jared Verse just started wearing Dylan Gabriel's number. Did he offer him a Rolex? No. Did he offer him anything? No. He just started wearing Dylan Gabriel's number. It's like, hey, Dylan Gabriel, that should tell you that nobody gives a S about you or your feelings. Jared Verse wants 8? Yeah, well, we won't even consult Dylan Gabriel. It's like, bro, you're lucky to have any number. And he was complaining that Verse took his 8 away. All right, Spencer Rattler, Michael Penix. These are young quarterbacks that don't really read the field, don't see it that well. Fields, Lamar, Cam, Daniels. Whoa. That's interesting that he's so far down the list. But he had kind of a disappointing year, banged up. Shador, obviously very young. McCarthy, really rough. So, interesting. It's an interesting list for sure. And Purdy's at the top of it. Best quarterbacks on third and fourth downs. And I don't know exactly what based on EPA per attempt. Okay, there it is. I was going to say, I don't know exactly what it's based on. Now I do. EPA per attempt. All right, the other one I thought was kind of interesting. This is Warren Sharp, NFL leader in completion rate on passes 10-plus yards downfield. Last year, Brock Purdy, number 1 in the NFL. Number 1 in the NFL. When you think of the Niners' offensive attack, do you think of, especially last year, downfield extravaganza? What? Not at all. It's like 3 yards in a cloud of dust, all this east-west stuff and these bang sixes and the, JJ catching it in a crowd, getting smoked, all this intermediate passing. I don't think of them as downfield at all. Brock Purdy last year, number 1 in the NFL, completion rate, passes 10-plus yards downfield. I think it was like 74-point-something%, number 1 in football. It's an aberration. Well, wait a second. No, because in 2024, Brock Purdy was the leader in completion rate on passes 10-plus yards down the field out of 34 quarterbacks, number 1. Number 1. You see the picture? 23, Brock Purdy, first full season, off the elbow surgery, right? Number 1 in the NFL. NFL leader in completion rate on passes 10-plus yards down the field. One, what does it tell you? It tells you a few things. One, the Niners don't go down the field very much, right? It's not a high volume. I bet you if you look at those numbers are probably lower as far as attempts down the field. But Brock does like to go down the field, and he's accurate throwing it down the field. So, right there, you're talking about a guy who can throw the ball down the field. Now, the question is, do they have the receivers? And that's why I think I'm pretty encouraged by the 49ers this year, is that now they've got separation. I mean, going to the mini camp, I will say this, the whole thing's going to look different. Like, you're going to look at the Niners this year, you're going to be like, wow, they look totally different, I think. And the reason they're going to look totally different on offense is that they have different receivers. You really play to the skill set of your receivers. I mean, you can have your play designs and you can have your route combinations, but you're going to run the routes that your receivers can win. If you got a receiver that's Juwan Jennings and he can't run a post route or a go route, then why are you going to run him on post routes and go routes? You're not. You're going to run him on outs and ins, intermediate cuts, and you're going to throw him an occasional corner route for a big play. That's where you know what? If he's covered, you just airmail it up right out of bounds. No harm, no foul. You move on to the next down. That was take their shots. They'll throw a corner route to a slowish type receiver like Bourne or JJ. That was what they did. Well, this year they've got Watkins and Cowing and Stribling and Grimes and Pauling and Pearsall, and these guys all run. And it's been interesting to watch the minicamp because the throws are down the field. Deshaun Stribling is catching the ball down the field. Jacob Cowing is catching the ball down the field. Jordan Watkins is catching the ball down the field. Demarcus Robinson is catching the ball down the field. And his, if you look at his career numbers, his average yards per reception, it's a pretty big number for a guy who runs 4.59. Demarcus Robinson can make plays down the field. The 49ers are going to make more plays down the field. I think this is the year. It's funny that people are banging on Brock right now because it's like, you're going to look bad. You're going to look really bad. We know the guy's already a winner. We know the guy's super competitive. But now he's going to be a good fantasy quarterback. They're going to throw the ball down the field. He's going to make plays down the field. He's got receivers that can separate down the field with speed. And it's going to look quite a bit different. 49ers are going to stretch the field vertically better than they ever have. They're going to stretch the field horizontally because now they don't just have CMC. They've got Kalon Black, who, by the way, pretty damn good. Pretty damn good. RB2. Just say it loud, say it proud, say it with your chest out. Kalon Black, RB2, because that's what he is. Anybody who tells you otherwise, they weren't at minicamp. They didn't see it. I'm not saying Jordan James stinks. Jordan James is a powerhouse. He's got to be every bit of 220, 225. He's a big kid. He's jacked and compact, but he's got natural hands, and he's really, the 40 time on him, he's one of those guys that he moves faster with the ball in his hands than he did for the stopwatch. His 40 time shows a very pedestrian runner, but with the ball in his hands, he's quick, he's elusive. He's not going to be easy to bring down. I don't know if contact balance, we're going to have to see about that. I'm not really sure about that. There's not a lot of, as Dan Campbell calls this the May and June pajama party. I don't know if I would agree with that, but the contact balance is definitely, that would be my question. Does he have great contact balance? He's got really, really good running back dimensions, really squatty, really powerfully built, should be able to be durable and take hits, should have good contact balance, but you never know. You never know. But he looks like a guy who can catch a ball in the flat, and good luck tackling him. Good luck tackling Kalen Black. Good luck tackling CMC. So I think the Niners are going to make defenses just absolutely, just angry with how difficult their backs are to tackle. The big question I have is the 49ers. Brock likes to throw the ball to the tight end, and the Niners have gone mostly, 22, 21 personnel. They're a 2-back, 1 tight end team. They don't do multiple tight ends. When they do, it's in obvious run situations with blockers to try to run. And I think you may see Enrique Cruz, the big offensive tackle, utilized as a blocking tight end possibly this year if they get into a numbers crunch, and they will at the cut down. The other disturbing thing coming out of the minicamp is that George Kittle is still talking week 1. I mean, that is disturbing. That would be like less than 7 months after tearing his Achilles. And that there's nobody that should want to see that. This guy's the face of the franchise. You want him back there, and you want him on that bird to Australia? Really? 7 months after Achilles? I don't want to see that guy until after Halloween. I mean, I would hide his helmet until October for sure. And I would basically just, go get somebody else. I mean, that's the other thing. This is the one downside of the 49er offseason. You want to roll over record cap amounts. I'm fine with that. I get it. You got cap issues in the future that you're worried about. You want to not spend the money that that I'd like to see you spend and others would like to see you spend. I'm okay with that. But do not ask your franchise face, a guy who will try to come back and play week 1. Don't ask him to play week 1. Don't ask him to play month 1. Give him the full 9 months to heal. Let him come back in November like every other person. Because, here's the bottom line on it. You want to play great, meaningful football with him in the middle of it, in the middle of February in the Super Bowl. So, I mean, why? Why you bring him back in September? And there's tons of different tight ends you could go after. There's free agents that are available right now. Now that Myles Garrett's a Ram, you may want to take a real hard look at every elite blocking tight end. I think if I were the 49ers, I would call Jacksonville right now about the former San Jose State kid, Josh Oliver, who is considered to be the best blocking tight end in the game right now. There are great tight ends, period, that are, better all-around players. But if you're just looking for a strong, dominant inline blocker that moves people in the run game, considered to be the best blocking tight end in pro football right now, Josh Oliver. You say, who? Yeah, Josh Oliver. I know that's probably catching some of you by surprise. He went to San Jose State. He's a huge, huge, strong athlete. There are better receivers, but he is just long arms, very strong, tenacious in the run game. Just think of like kind of a bigger, longer, more, better blocker than Charlie Werner, who was really good. Charlie Werner was a tremendous blocker and still is with the Atlanta Falcons. And he was here. The Niners drafted him. He's from Atlanta, or he's from Georgia. And so when the Falcons came calling, I'm sure he was like, hell yeah, buy a spread down here in Georgia. I'd rather live in Georgia anyway. I wouldn't, but he would. So it's an ideal situation. But the Niners lost a really good blocker who drove his feet, and you just directional. I mean, he just kept driving his feet, and no matter what direction it went, I mean, he would just lock on you like a pit bull and just not let go. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Charlie Werner was a really good high effort drive blocker. He could block both in line or in space, and he was really, really good. Well, Niners don't have that right now. They've got George Kittle, who's a tremendous blocker, but he's hurt. You got Farrell, who you paid in free agency, but he's supposed to be a great blocker. I just think he's an okay blocker. Pretty good, nothing great, not a great receiver. But even if you keep him, I think you need another. Miles Garrett is in your division. You've got DeMarcus Lawrence in your division. You've got some big boys in your division. Right now, Josh Sweat's in your division. We can talk about that as well. A lot of people want to see the Niners go after Sweat. But you got some good edge rushers, some elite, the guy, including the guy in Myles Garrett in your division. So it might be time to think about Josh Oliver. Might be time to call Buffalo about Spencer Hawes. Or not Spencer Hawes. Jackson Hawes. Spencer Hawes was the former NBA big man for UW Huskies. They played in the 7-footer. I'm confusing my Hawes. But Jackson Hawes, the former G-Tech, the rookie out of Buffalo. But they've got Dalton Kincaid. They've got Dawson Knox. He's third on their depth chart. Maybe offer them a day 2 pick for Jackson Hawes, who's a young, talented blocker who's also got some receiving ability, but he's third on the depth chart in Buffalo. So, I mean, there's options out there, but those are a couple of the young, talented guys. There's older guys, Mercedes Lewis and veteran tight ends, but, that's one direction. Couple other quick thoughts, some OTA thoughts. As I said, if you're tuned in expecting the coach is going to be here probably any minute. He'll check in. We'll get into more of the meat and potatoes of what we want to talk about. But OTA takeaways. The Niner defensive line is really deep and really talented. I mean, I'm talking about go get Joey Bosa, but in reality, they're 16 deep, and there's some really, really good football players there. Now, there's not a Myles Garrett, and they could still use more edge rush. And so I'd be interested in Leonard Floyd. I'd be interested in Joey Bosa. I'd be interested in Von Miller. I'd be interested in Jadeveon Clowney. I'd be interested in another edge rusher. But, man, outside of that, it's a good-looking group. Very deep, very talented. Mikhail Kamara, I think, looks like a really nice player. Romello Height is, the guy's saying before, don't get excited about Romello Height. I just stood next to Chris Sarek the other day, and we asked him. I didn't ask him. I think Cam Inman asked him about Romello, and he compared him to Nick Bosa as a rookie. He said he's that advanced. He's had some snaps in the mini camp already that your people are like, woo. Romello's noticeable. So you're talking about a guy with a motor and, just a knack to rush the passer. He is thin, but we'll see. We'll see if he's got enough functional strength to exist in the NFL in these 5-man fronts or how Raheem chooses to use him. But there's a very deep and talented defensive line right now assembled in San Francisco, which is considering how last year ended. I was very skeptical whether the 49ers could get to, training camp with a deep line. But I'm going to share the screen. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Most teams keep like no more than 10, right? 10 defensive linemen would be in a 4-3. You might keep less in a 3-4. But in a 4-3 front, let's get this ad out of here. This pop-up. These pop-ups kill me. Here's the D-line. Mikael Williams, Alfred Collins, Oso Digizua, Nick Bosa. Now, obviously, Bosa and Williams coming off ACLs, but that's a pretty damn good number 1 group right there. You get 2 number 1s and number 2 and Osa coming from Dallas. I mean, that's a pretty good group. Now, I don't think that's the way the Niners have. That's the way our lads has the first group, but that's not the way the Niners have it. I think the Niners number 1 group would be Collins out and West in with Osa. So it'd be Mikael, West, Odigizua, and Bosa. I think those are your true ones. Whatever, it doesn't matter. It's June. Okay, who are the 2s? Keon White, not practicing yet, but is still moving around out there, walking around. Doesn't look like, he looks like he's coming. And so he'll be ready at some point, even though he was shot in the ankle. It's amazing. If I was shot in the ankle, I'd probably never walk again. That guy's going to play, and he's probably going to play well. It's, just amazing. NFL caliber athletes it's just amazing. But Keon White, Alfred Collins, Grayson Halton, and like Sam O. Let's call that the twos. We'll put Romello further down the list. So call that the twos. That's a pretty good group of twos. And then the third group, the threes, right now, our lads lists it as Cam Sample, Evan Anderson, Sebastian Valdez, Romello Height. I don't think that's not the way I'd rank it. I'd probably have Romello Height, Mikhail Kamara, James Thompson, Bryson Eason as the number threes. And those guys all look good. And then fours, Cam Sample looks pretty good. He has some reps that are just like, what? This guy looks like there are reps that Cam Sample looks monster. I mean, he's an athlete. He's a big time athlete. He needs coaching and he needs reps. He needs tutelage. He needs technique refinement. But he is a talented guy. There is no question about that. And then William Bradley King was flying off the edge the other day, and he was a pretty good rusher in college. So, I mean, that's a lot of dudes. I mean, there's 5 guys that are going to get cut there. So I think it's going to be rough for Sebastian Valdez this year. It's going to be rough for Evan Anderson this year. And it might be even rough for Sam O. Sam O may not have a roster spot locked up because Mikhail Kamara is quick and he's 260 pounds and he is a proven rusher, and nothing that he has shown so far in minicamp makes you think that he can't do it. When I watch him, I'm thinking, this guy can do it. This is why I like this guy. Can't believe you. This happens every year in the NFL. The teams don't know how to draft because they're always drafting with these historical measurements in mind. How many guys 6 feet, 260, have made the NFL, blah, 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 okay, fine. You can give me a statistical reasoning why it's unlikely that Mikhail Kamara is good, or you can just flip on the film and verify that he is good. And they got this kid, and I don't think they gave him even a lot of money to sign. And he's quick, and he's athletic, and there's nothing about him that when you watch him, you go, that guy's not going to make it. It's like he looks like he's good, like he could make it. So their D line is deep. I think that's the biggest takeaway from the minicamp is, God dang, they got a super deep defensive line. Takeaway number 2 is that the rookie defensive tackles, and that's Grayson Halton, James Thompson Jr., and Bryson Eason. I mean, all 3 of those guys looked like draftable players, and they all look good. James Thompson is 6'6", 310, strong as heck, and kind of quick. Bryson Eason has got this huge base, and he's 320, and he's also quick. And then Grayson Halton's quicker than them. He's more like 295, but he's just got great motor, great movement ability. He's got 3 young defensive tackles that are all going to be really impressive this summer, I believe. You got 3 really crazy athletic linebacker prospects. And, the one thing about Raheem Morris is he's just so good at figuring out who to play and when to play him and how to do this whole thing with his 5-man fronts and his creativity. So let's see. Coach just sent me a picture. Where is he at? Oh, maybe he's still in his suit. We'll see if Coach is coming or not. I think he is. But anyway, there's 3 super athletic linebacker prospects between Nick Martin, Jaden Duggar, and this kid Larry Worth III. Now, it's amazing sometimes. The linebackers, it's the one position where guys just come out of nowhere that are really good. Had anybody talked about Azeez Al-Shaair, you could buy every draft guide the year that Azeez came out. He had 400 collegiate tackles. He's one of the most productive tackling linebackers in all of college football. You can't find his name anywhere in any draft guide. So what does that say? And now the guy's got a multi-million-dollar contract, and he's wearing the green dot on the best freaking defense in the NFL. Nobody knew anything about him. He went undrafted. First round, second round, third round, fourth round, day 3, late day 3. Nobody used any picks on Aziz Al-Shire. Look at his athletic profile. He's a ridiculous athlete. Can run for days. Look at his hitting and his violence. It's like the best there is. Nobody saw that guy. So linebackers come out of nowhere. Dre Greenlaw was a day 3 pick. Fred Warner, was a 3rd round pick. He's the best linebacker in the game. And you could look around football. There's a bunch of different guys around the game. That guy, what's his name? Foysaid Alakan, who makes 1 billion tackles. That guy wasn't drafted. It just happens all the time. The Niners have 3 just ridiculous athletes at linebacker, and we're going to find out. Can KJ Wright and Johnny Holland and Raheem Morris, can they coach these guys up? Nick Martin, Jaden Duggar, Larry Worth III. And, Martin is short, compact, and just crazy athletic. Looks like the most athletic guy in the field. Jaden Duggar has a believer in KJ Wright. And KJ, we all should have anybody in our lives who believe in us as much as KJ Wright believes in Jaden Duggar. I mean, he loves Jaden Duggar. And he just really believes that Duggar's got special traits. And he does. He's got 85-inch wingspan and really, really good speed. And the instincts, we'll see, because he hasn't played much. He's a true developmental length athlete, special teamer in year 1, I think. And then probably the most mysterious of the 3 is this Larry Worth III, who played safety for Arkansas. And man, this guy, all gas, no brakes. They list him at 6'4", 220. He looks even bigger than that. He looks like 6'5". He's a big, tall, rangy linebacker, but he's a safety. But in today's linebacker, this is the evolution of the linebacker right before our eyes. It used to be Matt Millen and these guys with the neck roll, and they ran 4.9, and everybody took on guards. And that guy, it's like, what? That's like a dinosaur. That's so extinct. Then they were like 4.7. You had to run at least 4.7. Now, you better be a 4.5 guy. Everybody runs 4.5. And this idea that you needed to be 230. Derek Brooks was the MVP of the Senior Bowl. His team won the national championship. He ran 4.5, and he fell to the end of the first round, I believe. Why? Because he was 225, and he was considered too small. He's too small. He's 225. He's in Canton. He's a freaking Hall of Famer. And they missed on him. I saw Rich McKay, who was the guy who drafted him, who said, you know what? There's something really wrong with our industry when Derek Brooks falls to 28 or whatever it was. Well, that's NFL always has these size, speed, boxes. And if you don't fit in the size, you don't fit in their dimensions. It's like they mark you down. You don't get drafted, or you get drafted late. But Larry Worth III, man, this guy can really fly, and he covers a ton of ground. And he's a former DB, so he's got the ability to break down in space against smaller, more athletic guys. And he translates speed to power. Really exciting. I don't know how Raheem's going to use him. Is he going to be a weak side backer? Is he going to be some sub-package specialist? I'm not sure. Is he going to be in the nickel? Is he a dime package guy? Is he a special teamer only? Not sure what the game plan is. But you just don't see 6'5" guys with range and athleticism and striking ability, and it's all about closing space. This guy has got a little bit of that Nick Emanwari. What was Nick Emanwari so good at him? And it wasn't like he didn't take false steps. He took tons of false steps. He's just so damn big and fast and rangy that he can take 2 false steps and overcome it. Well, same thing with Jaden Duggar. Same thing with Larry Worth III. They're just big, rangy, fast, athletic guys who I'm eager to see. How does Raheem kind of fit them in? The other thing coming out of the minicamp, the safety spot is wide open. I don't know that there's anything rock solid there. Malik Mustafa looks like their best safety. At times, they looked like they had Brown and Siegel running with what I would look at as the ones. They picked up Ashton Davis. There are people around the Niners and around the media around the Niners that are suggesting that maybe Ashton Davis could be a starter, that's a bad sign. If you can pick up a guy off the street in May, early June, and he could be a starter for you at safety. So safety's wide open. That's a wide open spot for sure. And what's going to happen there? I don't know. And they may need to bring in some other guys. Now, there's a phenomenal article out right now. Our good friend Kyle Posey inside Niners Nation has a piece out right now on the best 3 players that he thinks would be upgrades in the Niners secondary who are entering the final year of their contracts. In other words, 3 DBs that are free agents to be come this March that he thinks the Niners ought to go after. And they're 3 pretty interesting names. Kyle Posey's pretty sharp. The first one is Jesse Bates. Jesse Bates, and we've been talking about Jesse Bates quite a bit over the last year because Jesse Bates was in Atlanta with Raheem. He's also was in Cincinnati before that. Played at Wake. He's pretty young. Makes a lot of money. The Falcons save $4 million if they do trade him. This guy's a hell of a player. I mean, this would be like the great solution. If you could come up with a, what do the Niners need, list, he would be on it for sure. He's missed 3 games in 3 years. He's a true free safety. He's a veteran ball hawk. And he could direct traffic back there. So Jesse Bates, and he's 29, I think. So that's, it would cost you some money, and it would cost you probably a day 2 pick. But, and who knows? Is Atlanta wanting to move Jesse Bates? I don't know. But that's a good name. The second name Posey throws out is Mike Jackson. And now I love Mike Jackson. Mike Jackson played it for the Hurricanes and came into the league with Seattle. And a lot of people, he was kind of one of those tweener guys. Is he a corner? Is he too big? Is he, does he move well enough to be a corner? What he is just an awesome athlete with size. And he's a corner. He's 6'1", he's 210. He played well against the Niners last year. He had a big interception against them. He has that career, that he'd probably like to get back at the Seahawks a little bit. Really great athlete. Loved him with the Hurricanes. This guy's really good. Last year, he allowed a 48% completion percentage on 79 targets. So he's really good. Now, is Carolina going to be a playoff team, or are they going to, the bottom's going to fall out and they're going to be moving guys? I don't know. If they're a playoff team, he ain't going anywhere. If they're falling out of it, then Mike Jackson could be on the move. And you know what? I like his name the most of this list. I mean, the Niners have a bunch of corners, but Mike Jackson is just a great overall football player and athlete. And I think he could play almost anywhere back there. He could play the nickel. He could play the safety spot. I mean, I think as time goes on, he'll probably play more safety than corner, but I've always liked him. I think he's big time. The third name that Kyle Posey brings out is Anthony Johnson, who's a 24-year-old safety for Jacksonville. And he started 5 games last year. He started 8 the year before that. And he's versatile. I mean, he had very good ball skills. He had 4 picks last year. He could play free safety. He could play strong safety up in the box if you need him. He's athletic enough and fast enough to play slot corner. He's a really solid, for sure, tackler. That's what he is. Antonio Johnson. He's only missed 6 tackles last year, and that's a really good number. Now, my question is, why is Jacksonville? I know Jacksonville has drafted some other guys at safety, but I don't see Jacksonville moving him. I think he stays. He seems like a really good football player, and since he's so versatile, I think he's a guy that's going to make their roster. So it's a good name, but if Jacksonville falls out of it, maybe Antonio Johnson could be picked up. I think you've just, focused for a second on Atlanta, because the Falcons, Raheem was there, and a lot of the guys that are there, he was there for the last couple of years, are there because Raheem wanted him there. Their safety tandem right now is Jesse Bates and Xavier Watts. I'd take either one of those guys. Xavier Watts is a hell of a player, former Notre Dame star, and he had a really good rookie year. Now, they also brought in Sidney Brown, and they have DeMarco Helms. So those are their 4 safeties right there. The 2 guys in Atlanta that I would be interested in, if you don't want to go spend the money to get Jesse Bates or spend the big draft capital to get Jesse Bates, and guys who might be cut loose or might be, available in a trade in August. Two names that I think make a lot of sense. Jamie Robinson, the former Florida State safety, who Raheem signed last year off the street to the Falcons practice squad and then promoted him later in the year to the active roster. I've always liked Jamie Robinson. He's kind of sawed off, a little shorter, but man, he is tough. He's an alpha. He's a hitter. I think he's a decent cover guy. I like the alpha leader in Jamie Robinson. He's a direct traffic kind of a guy. Might have some limitations in coverage, but if you're just looking for an extra safety, I think he would be a good name. The better name, and I don't know, we'll see what he's going to be, because he may be a tremendous player and he ain't going anywhere, or he may be cut. And I think the full gamut of possibilities are out there, and that's Billy Bowman for the Falcons. Once again, Raheem drafted this guy, 4th round out of Oklahoma, and then he looked good right away. And he was their starting nickel. And he played 6 games as a rookie, and then he had a hamstring injury, and he missed some time. And then when he came back from the hamstring injury in week 12, he blew out the Achilles. So he's coming now off an Achilles, and he's in a secondary that includes Jesse Bates, Xavier Watts, Sidney Brown, DeMarco Helms, Jamie, other guys. And there's a chance that Bowman either doesn't make it, or is cut at the cut down, or is available in a trade. But you know what? He's a good player. He is a very good player. And if he just gets caught up in a numbers game with the injury and the whole thing, and for whatever reason falls out of favor in Atlanta, I could see Raheem saying, bring me Billy Bowman. I mean, last year he invested a 4th round pick on this guy, and he became a really good, he's exactly what the Niners need. He's a safety who's smart, who can also play the nickel corner spot, and at least pre-Achilles had some juice, had some hitting ability, some coverage ability, some direct traffic ability, smart. I really like Billy Bowman. So just some names at safety, but I thought overall that safety spot is wide open. Now, other thing that stands out is the competition at corner is going to be fierce. I mean, you got 9 guys going for 6 spots. You got a lot of corners. So corners, they're really loaded at corner. Where they're not really loaded is tight end. They really need another tight end. Kittle says he's vowing to return by week 1. I mean, that's that's 7 months after Achilles surgery. I mean, Google it. Google how long does it take NFL players to come back from a ruptured Achilles, and it will tell you 9 to 12 months. He should not come back in week 1. He should come back in week 10, week 9, after the bye, something like that. And I think he will ultimately, but right now they're still talking week 1. The big difference on offense is the wide receivers and running backs. The CMC Black and James trio all look dynamic. The wide receivers are definitely different and with a lot more speed and separation ability. And I think the combination with Brock, another year in this offense, I think Brock's going to have a big year. He's going to be much more of a downfield passer. He's going to be much more of a viable fantasy quarterback. So that's what I think we're kind of looking at. All right, let's hit a couple more of these. We got this one. We got that one. Wait a second. We'll hit a couple of these, couple chats. Then maybe we can put the I said we were going to put the calls thing in here, but let me see. I got to do this. Got to move this over. Oh, there we go. There it is. Okay. All right. Now I can put that in the call screen. Okay. So here we go. Now I'll put the link in. If anybody wants to jump in via calls, we can do that as well. And I just put that in just now. So that is at and also, one of the other things I'd love to hear from you guys in the stream. I put it in the stream at 12:14. So right now, 12:14, Krug Show. If you want to do a video call, if you want to jump in and give us your thoughts on where the Niners are post mini camp, feel free. I made some notes on, okay, one of the other things I wanted to get to is I thought was kind of interesting today is there's a report out of Vegas. Now, I don't know how legit this is. But there's a couple different reports. One, Dove Kleiman has this. I'll share the screen on this. This is and I can't even tell you. I know you guys are tired of Ayuk as well. Oh, we got Darwin back there. Hold on a second, Darwin. Let me just share this screen. Dove Kleiman says the Cowboys are now the favorites in the poly market to sign Brandon Ayuk. There's a 34% chance that Ayuk gets traded or signs with Dallas, according to the poly market app. CeeDee Lamb, Pickens, and Ayuk. I mean, that just so reeks of the Cowboys. That really does. I can't believe anybody's gonna trade anything for Ayuk, but you never know. You never know. Is Dallas the kind of team that would actually pull the trigger on a trade for Ayuk? The Dez Bryant comment, by the way, that Ayuk, somebody was trying to smear Ayuk by having that police report or having him an arrest warrant for him for speeding past the stadium. It's like, dude, you're going to point the finger. If you commit a crime and you televise it, you get what's coming to you. If you commit a crime and you televise it and you photo it and then you put it on social media, I mean, come on. I mean, what can we say? I mean, it's just the level of craziness to that is just off the charts. So you can't say that anybody smeared him. If anything, he smeared himself. I hate to say that because I the whole thing with Ayuk. But, I mean, if you drive past the stadium speeding, one, don't. Second thing, if you do that, don't film it. Oh, yeah, by the way, and if you film it, don't put that out on social media and verify that that's you and apologize for it. Now you got people coming after you. Crazy stuff for sure on the Ayuk. But there was there was a rumor this morning, not even a rumor. I can't even say that. Let me see what it is. It was more of the Niners missed out on Myles Garrett. Would they trade for Max Crosby? And it was like, would you trade Mikell next year's 1 and a 28-2 for Max Crosby? And that does seem like a high figure for a guy who was, a guy who's coming off a major injury, so major that the Ravens backed out. Mikell's a number 1, so you're going to trade a number 1 and another number 1. You're going to trade 2 number 1s and a number 2 for Max Crosby, who's a little bit older and maybe he's got a, who knows what kind of knee situation it is there. I don't know. That seems a little risky, but there's people that want to see that. There's people that are just so much about it's like, why would you go trade Mikell, who you just drafted in the first, and trade next year's 1 when you really could need all your picks? And, there's no real reason to do that. I mean, you can get Joey Bosa tomorrow off the street for nothing. Why am I trading my 2 number 1s for a better defensive end when I could get a couple other defensive ends? I mean, right now, Jadeveon Clowney's available. Joey Bosa's available. So I don't know. Trading the farm for Max Crosby, I don't like the idea of trading, a ton of assets for one guy. I said it the other day and I meant it. I would rather have Jared Verse and those 3 1s that the Rams got than Myles Garrett. And as far as Crosby, the Ravens walked away for a reason. And why? Because they were like, hey, why are we going to pay a bunch of draft picks when we can just sign Trey Hendrickson? And to me, that makes sense. So I don't know. We'll see. Niners have a lot of bodies here. If you could get a real difference maker, I would consider doing it. Crosby is a difference maker. It's just a matter of price. What kind of price do you want to pay? You definitely do have depth. So if you wanted to move one of your defensive ends, you have enough depth where you could definitely do that. So I'll say this. There's two names out there that I think are kind of the big names. It's Max Crosby and it's Kyle Pitts. You're the 49ers and you like to throw it to your tight end, and you don't have George Kittle most likely until the middle of the year. And Kyle Pitts, they're saying, may get dealt from Atlanta. I just saw that yesterday, that Kyle Pitts might get moved. If Kyle Pitts is available, man, I think Kyle Pitts and Kyle Shanahan's offense could be really good. You think the Rams have, upset people with 12 personnel? The Niners would make people crazy with 12 personnel if they had that kind of a player. If they had a Kyle Pitts, that would be absolutely spectacular. All right, let's talk a little bit. Let's go down the depth chart a little bit. I want to go through the team. This is kind of what Coach and I were going to get into. The title of the stream is What's Missing from the 49er Roster, breaking down every position battle, Krug and the coach. I'm going to go through some of the position battles here because I just don't know if Coach is going to be able to join us. He said he'd be here by now. It hasn't happened. He may not be able to join us, which would be a bummer. But what can I say? It's the offseason. He's at a wedding, and he was going to jump in here, but I don't know if he'll be able to. So we'll have to see. But let's do this. Before we do any of that, let's do our PrizePicks lineup. We'll jump into our PrizePicks lineup for today. PrizePicks is America's #1 sports picks app, and the reason I like it, it is simple. You're just picking more or less on player stats or even game outcomes, building your lineup, and you're in. No complicated stuff, just what you think is going to happen in the game. Use code HMA. Play $5, get $50 in lineups instantly. The link is in the description. Coach is in the green room. He's getting ready. So we'll give him a second. We'll do our PrizePicks, and we'll share the screen on the PrizePicks. We'll give Coach a minute. Yeah, we'll give him a minute. He's just number one. He's number one. You're good to go? Oh, you're good to go. No, you're not good to go. Let's do this. You are good to go. Okay, so let's just bring him in. We won't, without any further ado. There he is.
My dog.
What's up?
Doing, man?
How are you, man? How was the wedding?
It wasn't a wedding. It was a funeral. I had to go to a funeral.
Oh, funeral.
Yeah. So my godbrother, BJ, passed away, 24 years old, just ended his bout with cancer. So I just wanted to give this time to my little godbrother, BJ. Man, we love you, and we sent you off the right way. So we're back, man. We just had to handle business stuff. That's
let's give both you guys some applause.
Yeah, man.
Man, that's always sad. It's always
He's
sad.
young. He was young. It was a shock, but we're here. We're ready to go. And we sent off my godbrother right, and we right back to work, man. You know how it is.
Yeah, no, I know. I do. You sure you're up for this today?
Yeah.
You good? You're good?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I need to be back. All right. I need to be back. So let's go.
Well, let's throw you back into the deep end of the pool. We'll go immediately to PrizePicks.
PrizePicks.
Which, of course, both our channels are brought to you by our good friends at PrizePicks. And we will share the screen here. And get the right format. There we go. And we will move this over here and do that over there. Okay, we just move this over. And we'll do our PrizePicks lineup for today. All right, there we go. And thank you to PrizePicks. PrizePicks is awesome. They've been sponsoring both of our shows. #1 sports picks app. Just use code HMA. Play $5, get $50 in lineups instantly. The link is in the description.
Hey, Larry, do me one quick favor. Go over to people and turn my mic up. Everybody's saying that so go over to the The right side.
It just went super loud on us just now.
Okay.
Go to the right side.
Yeah, well, super loud because I turned it up. Okay, just let me know if they can hear me, because either you could turn me up or I could turn myself. Voice is fine now. Yeah, we're good. We're good. All right.
I think everybody can hear. All right, so let's go to a little NBA finals. This is for Monday's game 3 in New York. All right, Knicks up 2-0. And any of these stand out to you? The one that stands out to me is Jalen Brunson. I'll take more on Jalen Brunson. He's playing
for the 26
well right
points.
now. Yeah, feel really good about him.
Jalen Brunson's doing phenomenal. What about Wemby?
I
think you passed him. He's right next to Brunson.
There he is, 26.5 points. You want to go over or less or more on Wemby?
I'm going to go more.
Okay. You know he's going to want to have a monster night.
They need to. They're going to go down 3-0 if they don't get it together.
It's over. Yeah, it's over. I'm going to go Karl Anthony Towns more on points, rebounds, assists to combine 34.5.
Okay.
And I think that's good. I think we've got a little bit of each there. I want to go Champagne, but they don't give us a Champagne. Not today. Mm-hmm. So we'll go with that, and we'll put this down for 5 today, and let's grow this over here so we can see the whole thing. Yep, there we go. And then we will submit our lineup. It takes just a second. They have to make sure, add it all up, do everything right, submit our lineup, bingo, bango, and it will be here in just a second. So anyway, when we submit our lineup, then it gives us a full breakdown. Here we've got Brunson, Wembanyama, Karl Anthony Towns. Let's see. Did it not? Oh, there it is. There it is. It took a little time. All right. So now we'll do this. We'll view the lineup. So we did a 3-pick power play. $5 pays us 30. So Brunson needs to go for 27. Wembanyama needs to go for 27 or more, of course. Karl Anthony Towns needs to go 34.5 or 35 or more on points, rebounds, and assists combined. If all 3 of those things happen, our $5 play turns into 30. Thank you from PrizePicks. And, of course, we're big fans of PrizePicks. Check them out. You'll be a big fan as well. And thank you to PrizePicks for being a proud sponsor of both of our channels. All right, we are back. Coach, we titled the stream, What's Missing from the 49er Roster? And I thought we could get into this as far as, and I've talked a lot today already, but as far as what do you think now that we've had the draft, we've had the mini camp, you saw the Rams added Myles Garrett. You're looking at what the Niners have on their depth chart. We could share the screen here, and I can show it to everybody for one more time. But yeah, I mean, what's still left to be done? What if you could do something to add to this team to try to give them a better chance to win this year? What do you want to try to add? There's a lot of, Grant did a stream today talking about the rumor out of Vegas on Twitter about, this guy from Vegas saying that hey, how about the Niners get involved for Max Crosby? What do you think? Where are you? What do the Niners need to do, if anything, to tinker with their team to make their team better before camp?
Okay, so
and by the way, here it is. By the way, NFL columnist Vincent Bonsignori wrote, the 49ers should match the Rams' blockbuster by acquiring Max Crosby. He suggested 27 first, 28 second, and Mikael Williams to the Raiders for Crosby.
I don't know about Max Crosby. I'm not too bullish on that. I understand that Max Crosby has a lot of injury history coming in, and I kind of want to stay away from Max Crosby. One thing that I have looked at the roster, there's 3 position groups that really need help. That's tight end, edge, and safety. Now, as far as edge is concerned, edge is something that is an immediate fix because Mikael Williams is not going to be back, and we don't know what we're going to get out of Nick Bosa. And if you look at what we have left if you look at what we have left for the 49ers roster, as far as edges are concerned, I don't feel comfortable walking into the season with Keon White, Sam O, Romello Height, and Cam Sample, right? Like, that ain't really moving the needle. Yeah. So,
Kamara, but yeah, I hear you.
Mikhail Kamara, yeah, I don't want to poo-poo Mikhail Kamara, but I mean, how much can you truly expect from a rookie coming in off a UDFA contract? So we want to be where our feet are with as far as edge is concerned. Now, do we absolutely positively need an edge? No, we don't. If those guys came back and we waited on those guys to come back healthy, I think we would be okay. The two positions where we absolutely do not have the talent is safety and tight end. Tight end right now, we're basically one Achilles injury away from George Kittle not playing anymore. He feels all but hopeful that he'll be back in week 1. That doesn't really put any vote of confidence on my side of things. I don't know how you feel about it. Then we have Jake Tunges, who, has been utilized lightly at best, doesn't really have a lot of time on task. And we already understand how he is the type of blocker he is. Then speaking of blocking is concerned, Luke Farrell, who is underperforming his contract, to be honest. Right? He's not playing up to the money that we gave him. Tight end has basically been diminished all the way down into us crossing our fingers for Khalil Dinkins, who was a UDFA out of Penn State. There's no world where you could be okay with what you have at tight end. And then 2, the same thing as at safety. I have been hearing reports, and I want to hear it from you, Larry. I have been hearing reports that the safeties cannot even stop the post. They can't stop the post. That Brock Purdy is going deep on these dudes with Dejon Stribling caught a big ball on the safeties crew. Jacob Cowan is catching balls on the safeties. And right now, the only guy who we're seeing as far as like starter quality as a safety is Malik Mustafa. And his coverage is shaky. I think the reason why we like Malik is a little bit of 2 things. It's twofold. One is that he is absolutely a beast in the run game, and he's very physical. That makes up for what he doesn't necessarily do in the pass game. And 2, it's the same reason why Mississippi loves Arkansas. Because as long as Arkansas is in the union, they ain't the shittiest state among the 50 states. That's why, in the same way about Malik Mustafa, that's why he loves Jair Brown. Because as long as Jair Brown is here, Malik Mustafa will never be the worst safety on this roster. And I don't think that that's something that you can hang your hat on for being a starter. So for me, I think that safety is the position. All right. You're coming in with Raheem Morris, who blitzes like no other, all right? Led the league in blitz rate, and he's going to come in here and blitz like crazy with this team. Also, one of the reasons why you're blitz is because you want to cover the delta and you want to cover up some vulnerabilities that you have on your defense, i.e., you ain't too keen about your safeties. So you better blitz. You better go after the quarterback. You better not leave them back there all day to throw the ball. So I feel like, in a way, we may have to do what the Rams did, but we could do it smarter. But for me, I have a sneaky take. I don't think the Rams got Myles Garrett to be better. I think the Myles Garrett was not a luxury pick in my eyes, where the Rams defense was just so beyond they were just so good, and all of a sudden they just got greedy and they really wanted to just drive the point home. No. What they don't have, and what they didn't have with Jared Verse last year, is the Rams don't have a closer. They don't have anybody that's gonna cover up for Nate Landman and Omar Spates, those 2 average-ass middle linebackers that they have over there. They don't believe that Jared Verse and that front 7 is enough. They went and handled their secondary, but they don't have a closer up front. That's why they got rid of Jared Verse, is because they knew that bringing in Myles Garrett, the elite status that he has, would overcorrect and cover up the deficiencies that they don't feel that Jared Verse in his young and blossoming career can cover. So are we going to have to go ahead and go get either a safety or we have to go get an edge because either or is going to get exploited.
Well, I mean, it's funny. The Rams situation, they took a guy who was in a 4-3 wide 9
and put him in the 34.
And they put him as a 3-4 outside linebacker, and we'll see what it looks like. I mean, I don't think there's, rushing is rushing to some degree. I think that their defensive coordinator, Chris Shula, who's a really sharp guy, will be able to, get them going and use Garrett obviously incredibly well. But it is a different scheme, and there's some different looks, and there's definitely some different responsibilities.
He's going to be asked to do different things, man.
I mean, you may see. I think it's obviously a great move from the Rams' perspective as far as they're better, and it's all about right now. But for the future, I don't like it because I don't like trading 3 picks and a younger player who, it's like all players, they're all people, right? And it's like, yeah, Myles Garrett right now is like indestructible, but George Kittle 2 years ago was indestructible, and now he's, anything but. So your body gets beat up and nothing lasts forever. And yeah, he looks like the most indestructible guy, but 5 years in football years is a ton of years. So I think, the Rams overpaid. I really think the Rams overpaid here, but whatever. It's not going to matter if they win the Super Bowl. And that's what they're banking on. And it worked for them last time. So they're really cocky that it's going to work for them this time. As far as how the Niners counter got Myles Garrett, I mean, you have your own plan. You're not going to abort your mission and abort your plan. You're not set up to go trade for Max Crosby, and to trade a bunch of assets right now for Crosby, I think would be a mistake. But there are other things that I think you could build yourself a better offense. I think you could build yourself, some like I'll give you a guy that is really a counter to Myles Garrett is a blocking tight end like Josh Oliver, who's in Jacksonville, who's went to San Jose State. He's not a big name. He's Jacksonville's, one of their tight ends, but he's considered to be the best blocking tight end in the game today. If you want to really, do something significant, you're right, Coach. I think you're right. I mean, edge rush is a need. Safety is a need, and tight end is a need. And if you said, well, which of those could help you deal with Garrett? Well, the only spot is really tight end. So I like Tonjes as a receiver, and I think there's receiving capability guys that you could get if you want to get a receiver. But I think you really, with Garrett sitting over there and with DeMarcus Lawrence in this division, you better really think about who could you get as a dominant blocker. And I was saying, Jackson Hawes from Georgia Tech, who's number 3 on the list at Buffalo. I was thinking a guy like Josh Oliver. There's a couple other tight ends around football. But I would, I'd be willing to move like a 3rd or a 4th round pick to a Jacksonville or a player, I'll trade you a Ricky Pearsall if you give me the best blocking tight end in football, especially if some of these other young receivers come of age. So I just think that they've got to start thinking a little bit of how to match up better in the division.
Let me ask you this. Is the answer already on the roster?
In Dinkins?
No. And you ready for this?
Enrique Cruz?
Yep.
Well, I asked that question to...
you did?
I did. I asked the question to Chris Verster. I said,
what'd he say?
He said, it's funny. He saw where I was going, and I don't think he wanted to, verify too much. But, it's early, and this was, we talked to him, they haven't had any real mini camp action with the guy. But he's like, yeah, he's athletic, and he's long, and he can move. He can move, and there's no question. They could use we would
just need him to set the edge. Set the edge.
I think it will. Not only this, Coach. I mean, if you're going to have Enrique Cruz on your team, you're going to have to. I mean, you're either going to go with 10 or 11 offensive linemen, which is a lot of backup offensive linemen. Especially
they went with 10 last year.
Yeah, I mean, especially since they don't play. Or I mean, otherwise, you added 3 free agents and 2 draft picks. You only really typically go with 5 backup offensive linemen. So that means all of your other backup offensive linemen you're just going to cut. So I don't know. It's either going to be very competitive, or they're going to cut more guys, or they're going to keep more guys. But yeah, I definitely think Enrique Cruz at tight end, blocking tight end's got to be an idea. Got to be something that they consider, and if not, do.
How did you feel about Coach Forrester's interview? Did you pick up a lot from that when he his interview? What was that, 2-3 days ago? One thing that I liked is his approach to how he was respectful of the Myles Garrett trade, but we've only played against the Browns twice since Trent's been here. They only have 2 games against each other, and I felt like what he had to say was encouraging. He said, listen, he's only one edge rusher. All right. So we're going to have to block an edge anyway. All right. It just sucks that it has to be him. Another thing that he brought up that I couldn't agree with more, which is the real problem from an offensive line standpoint, when you're afraid of a defensive lineman, you'd much rather have an edge. He's locked in where he needs to be, right over on the edge. And guess what? He's running into one of our best players, our tackles. But an interior defensive lineman, you can't make plans for him. That's mano a mano, right? This guy's either he's one gapping or two gapping. He's got one guy in front of him, and there's not a lot you can do in pass protection. Maybe you can slide to him. That's about it. But if he wants to be in the lap of the quarterback and put your lineman in peril, then he could really be a game breaker, right? Like an Aaron Donald. I think, what did you think about Coach Forrester's comments on being more concerned if it had been an interior defensive tackle versus, it being Myles Garrett on the edge?
Well, I mean, I understand what he's saying, but then they don't have to use Myles Garrett on the edge. They can, especially in a 34 front, you can move them all over the formation if you wanted. You could put them in the A gap. You could put them opposite Colton McKivitz the entire day if you wanted, and not rush them once against Trent Williams all day. I mean, there's different things that you can do. I mean, I just don't think that any solid football man wants to overreact in May or June to a great pick. You saw Dan Campbell. I guess now the Rams are going to win it all. It's like, it just, a lot has to happen. I mean, yes, the best team got the best defensive player. And how about this? In the history of the NFL, this is also pretty amazing. History of the NFL, this year's Rams team is the only team ever to have the reigning MVP and the reigning Defensive Player of the Year award on the same team. So
Jeez.
it's an awesome thing that they did. They're going to benefit from it. I don't like it as far as I like it from a Niner perspective, because I think it definitely makes the Rams better this year, next year, but it also kind of shortens their window. And I like what the Rams are doing. I mean, Jeremy Fowler said it the other day. He's like, the Rams are not going to extend Puka Nacua. They're not going to extend Kobe Turner. They're not going to extend Steve Avila. They're not doing extensions for any of these guys. They're gearing up for the next 2 years. They're going to have all these guys. And at the end of the 2 years, I think it's likely that Stafford's gone, McVay's gone, and Les Snead moves forward with a new head coach and Ty Simpson ready to roll. And I think that's how it's going to go. So we'll see. I mean, it definitely makes the task harder. And I will say this, Coach, the one thing that is kind of, I think it's kind of a moment where the 49ers have to kind of really decide who they are and what they are, is that the Niners want to, do the fiscally prudent thing and roll over the cap and give themselves flexibility in the future and all that. And it all sounds great. But the Niners are kind of running hard at that Super Bowl trophy, but the Rams are sprinting at that Super Bowl trophy. And can you beat a team that's sprinting while you're just running hard? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it is the biggest. What it does is it really messes with what Niners fans have. We have main character syndrome. We always want to be in the middle of everything. We think that all news and every headline, even though it doesn't have anything to do with us, in some way has something to do with us. How will we be affected by this news? And when you see a division rival like the Rams stay true to their battle plan, they've done this before, right? We talked about this in 2021. We saw the FDM Picks era. This is essentially FDM Picks 2.0. Literally the same exact blueprint. Matt Stafford, young receiver, older receiver, all-time corner, all-time edge rusher, rinse and repeat. They did it this year. 2005, 2025 going into 26, Matt Stafford, young receiver in Puka Nacua, old receiver in Devontae Adams, went out and got Trent McDuffie, and who was their Jalen Ramsey, and then instead of Von Miller, they went out and got Myles Garrett. They're doing it again, right? So we see that they have a way of going to go get championships. It worked the first time. Now, the only biggest thing is that instead of Eric Weddle coming out of retirement, it could be Aaron Donald. That's a whole different ballgame. But also, there's a lot of moving parts when you're talking about getting the Super Bowl together. One of the biggest things that I've seen with Myles Garrett is, although Myles Garrett is the tip of the spear, I don't want to sit here and elude that he's not as good as he is. But he played on a defense that was very advantageous for him. They rolled out a lot of stuff they rolled out a lot of schemes. They rolled out a lot of packages that were really at the behest of Myles Garrett's skill set. The entire defense really was there to make sure that Myles Garrett was getting the sacks and getting the production, ergo putting the team on the map, because there really wasn't anything else to talk about in Cleveland. I don't know if that's going to be true coming to the Rams. He's coming from Jim Schwartz's offense in a 4-3 offense where he's had his own gap, he's had his own edge, and when he gets moved around, he knows exactly where he's going. Now you're playing in the Vic Fangio defense, which is basically stop the run on the way to the quarterback. Everybody has their own predisposed gaps, and he's going to be playing in that 9-tech spacing way out there. Now, he's used to being in 9-tech, but out of a 2-point stance? Is he used to being is Myles Garrett used to being chipped out there? Or is he used to being whammed out there? So there was a lot that Jared Verse was asked to do, i.e. buzz out in coverage, also stand up to help out with spy situations. There's a lot that he was asked to do in that defense. I know that they're not going to ask Myles Garrett to do all of that stuff just off the respect of what he brings. So who's going to pick up the slack? Who's going to do it? Because you brought in Myles Garrett because you didn't bring in Myles Garrett because you didn't like your defensive line or you didn't like your pass rush. You brought in Myles Garrett because you don't have a closer, and the guys that you do have, they're not good enough to cover up the deficiencies of your weak linebacking core. So you went and got Myles Garrett. I get it. But Myles Garrett was doing a lot. Myles Garrett was doing exactly what he needed to do in Cleveland as far as rush the passer, put his hand in the dirt, and patrol his gap. With the Rams, now that you're the closer, he's going to get moved all over the place. I want to see the Rams' chemistry. I want to see him put it all together. I want to see it work week 1 in Melbourne, right? We're not the only ones who have to put our team together and get a football team going. So do they. I want to see how that defense is going to work. They put themselves in the seat, Larry. If we would have made the move, everybody would have been saying, hey, no excuses. Super Bowl or die. Niners better come out here and blow the doors off the Rams in Melbourne. Now it's on the Rams. I want to see what the Rams have to do week 1.
It looks great on paper, but the thing's not necessarily played on paper. So we shall see. We shall see. It definitely shrinks their long-term Super Bowl window. It gave a team that had a great defensive end the greatest defensive end, and it upped their chances of winning the Super Bowl this year for sure. And the Super Bowl's at home. We'll see. I'm like everybody else. I'm not excited to see Myles Garrett on the other side, but at the same time, you know what? Bring it on. Let's see it. I mean, it's last year in May, Kansas City was favored to win the Super Bowl. They didn't even make the playoffs.
Come on, man.
A lot can happen. There was this talk this morning that the Cowboys are the poly market favorites to sign Brandon Ayuk. And
the Cowboys?
Yeah, there's a 34% chance that Ayuk gets traded or signs with Dallas, according to the Polymarket app. And, it's funny because Ayuk also at the same time is putting out his own stuff on social media, basically saying like the gig is up and all this stuff. The Niners are probably going to hold him. I'll share the screen on this. You can see this. The Niners are probably going to hold him till late August. And it's funny because it came out that it was a arrest warrant for him. And then somebody said, oh, they're trying to smear him. Des Bryant. Brandon Ayuk's latest IG story. You want to decipher this?
Yeah, let's go.
There we go.
That's it?
That's it.
Oh, wait a minute.
What is that blue thing there?
A cap?
Okay.
Stop the cap.
Stop the cap. The gig is up.
The gig is up. So hold on, wait a minute. I have to I've got to ask some black man questions on stream. Where did the bananas come from? What is that?
I don't even know what that is.
NB?
Who's that guy?
I don't know.
Well, that's offensive.
Yeah.
But is that somebody responding to that?
Yeah.
This is and of course that's somebody responding to 49ers and NFL News 24/7. This is the post that.
Oh, that's the post. Okay. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's just some racist idiot.
Yeah, the gig is up. The gig is up. Stop the cap. I mean, look, I think that Brandon feels as though that his name is being played with in a sense that we don't think that he's ready for football. He believes that there's an open and active initiative to try to hinder him from playing football and that people are against him. But for some reason, there are people that are not against him that are on other teams. I think the biggest thing for Brandon is he needs to show up to work. Show up to work. Larry, if you take that one piece of advice, if Brandon would have done this from the very beginning, none of this would be happening. Okay? Let's say Brandon gets the contract. Then he gets hurt. All of that stuff is true. All right? And then after Brandon gets hurt, let's just say Brandon does the unthinkable. He shows up to work every day and doesn't miss a day. Even calls when he's going to be late, right? Let's just say. And if Brandon Ayuk comes to work, let's do it his way. I don't like the trainers. I think that I don't trust it with my rehab. So what? Show up. Show up and say you don't like the trainers. At least you're there. Show up. You did not show up to work in America, on planet Earth. No call, no show. Everybody in the chat, finish it for me. On any job you've ever been on, if you no call and you no show, what happens? Your ass is fired. No questions asked. I don't care what level of industry that you're in. I don't care if what type of money you make. If you're hired for a job and you don't contact that job and you're supposed to be there for an allotted amount of time and you don't show up without any warning, you have effectively lost your job. Everything else is immaterial. How they treated you when you decided to start showing back up to work doesn't matter. How they treated you once they took your money and then all of a sudden you wanted to start acting right doesn't matter. How they lied to you about giving you playing time but then said that he was actually still hurt and he didn't want to play doesn't matter. All of that is nullified if Brandon shows up. Just come to work, my man. Just show up. None of the reports, none of this would be viable. None of the things that they've said about Brandon could be true if he just simply showed up. This is all on him, man. This is all on him. And put your damn phone down with the damn boxer. Larry, put that shit away. It's just it's cringe.
Well,
it's cringe, man.
The reason I'm showing that is he's wearing the Commander's hat. See the Commander's hat up there?
It's just too much, man. Every home is looking at Brandon Ayuk like, you are just hurting us, buddy. You not acting right. So he's young, he's misguided. I don't know who's around him, but Brandon, you got to show up to work, and you need to put down social media, brother. You need to put down social media. You can't win the internet. The internet is undefeated, dude. You can't win the internet. So I don't get it. The racing. Did you see I know you saw the racing stuff. Why am I asking? I know you saw it. The racing, the money all over the place.
I have a buddy who works in the Santa Clara DA's office. Santa Clara DA's office is the one that issued the bench warrant for his arrest. Now it's a misdemeanor, but right. And then Des Bryant's like, hey, he's being smeared, but hey, you're the one who broke the law.
Des Bryant is saying he's being smeared?
Yeah.
These people, I mean, the self-awareness just leaves the room. Like, Des Bryant says that Brandon Ayuk is being smeared.
He does. He says he's being smeared. But he filmed that, Ayuk did, and put it out there on social media, and seems kind of ticky-tack that it's coming up now, but you know what? Don't, come on. So what? The Niners, Des, think about it for a second. The Niners are trying to trade him. Do you think that him being, arrested helps their efforts to trade him? No. So what are they getting out of this smear campaign?
It's they're not getting anything out of it. I do believe the Niners have stuck it to BA a couple of times. You mess with the bull, you get the horns. That's just real. You thumb your nose at an organization, you embarrass them, and especially an organization that's gone to bat for you, that feels like they set you up to be thrusted into the next echelon of not only your life but your entire family tree. We're talking about life-changing money here. We're talking about life-changing deals. And Brandon Ayuk isn't putting that type of seriousness around his career or just his presence. And it's a shame. It really is. It's a shame.
We probably spent too much time on Ayuk because he's
talented. It's just a shame. He's a head case.
Well, I just think, his body broke. It's a lot, man. Think about it this way. Imagine if your body was your livelihood and you were all after this deal. You finally get this deal, but then, it's kind of shades of gray because you have some things
you got hurt,
some things aren't. And then all of a sudden you get hurt. Then you're not doing your rehab. Now you've voided all the guarantees. You've cost yourself somewhere in the neighborhood of $25 to $30 million. And now your body's broken. You're about to be thrown out onto the open market, and you're not going to be able to command that kind of dollar figure right now without demonstrating that you can still do it, and you may not still be able to do it. So there's a lot going on stress-wise in his head, I bet. If it was my personal friend, I'd be like, dude, I feel for you, but let's get your body right and put your best foot forward, and let's see where we can get your, because it's one thing to flash money when you got it now, but that you work for a short amount of time as an NFL player, that money's got to last. And it just seems like he's going about it all the wrong way. And at the same time being kind of reckless with the guarantees, letting them just kind of go away. Who does that? Nobody does that. Nobody does that.
Nobody. That's why, I argue with, I know Jesse's probably watching this right now. And Jesse is on the other side. He's one of those fans that really sees it from Brandon Ayuk's perspective. But for me, I just can't get over the self-accountability. My man, they took that money from you for one reason, and not because you were hurt, not because they didn't want to pay you. They would have had to keep still paying you. They took the money because you stopped coming to work. And what do you want me to do with that? You no-showed, bruh. You no-showed on $1 million gig. You no-showed. And you lost your guarantees about it. And that is the biggest thing for me why I will never let Brandon Ayuk off the hook. I don't care what the Niners do. I don't. You shouldn't have trusted the organization anyway. How the hell you don't show up to work? How'd you get fired on your day off?
Well, and life,
talk about you was moving boxes.
Life is about the fine print. It's all about life is about the fine print. You got to read the fine print. You got to read the fine print in your contract. You got to know what's going to, void the deal, what's going to void your guarantees. If it's not your job, it's your agent's job. And it's just simple as that. And I think he willingly did this. And I think it was obviously a bad financial decision. Hopefully it won't be a crushing financial decision. Hopefully he'll be able to have a career going forward.
He's still got life-changing money.
Yeah, he's got life-changing money, but he's also pissed away $30 million.
Yeah, I mean, but
a lot of money.
Look,
a lot of money.
I agree. That's a lot of money. But I'm steak and potatoes, bruh. Man, we lived the 15-year mortgage, 30-year mortgage life. That's the life we live. Okay, we're talking about taking out the trash on Tuesdays. Costco runs on Saturday. We talk about real life. All right, real life. Brandon Ayuk has more than enough money to live his life. Brandon Ayuk can Costco run and Disney World his ass for 30 years, and that money will still be there if he knows how to act right. The problem is that we got a duality right now. We got a little bit of an issue. We're dealing with young people who have way more money than the rest of the world and the rest of the people around them. So they're blowing money where and I know that if you give me $1 million, just give me $1 million. I'm gonna make that twerk. I'm gonna make it work, right? He's blowing money, right? He's treating life like an ATM. And really what he's doing is he's got a finite amount of time to be this type of earner in his life. And his goal is to make this time period echo for the rest of your life. That's the point. So these little 5 years, 10 years that you got in here, you're supposed to take this and let it permeate every facet of your life until you move on and to turn it into more money. But you out here racing, he ain't even racing good muscle cars. You out here racing CTSVs. Come on. A CTSV Blackwing? Come on. It's cringe. It's secondhand embarrassment, bro. He's not even spending his money on good shit. It's horrible stuff he's spending it on.
You're not even you're not driving a Ferrari. You're driving an MR2.
Come on.
You're not driving
all that money.
You're not driving a Bentley. You're driving a Chrysler 300.
You got all that money and you went with GM? You went the General Motors route? It just kills me, man. These dudes, I watch these guys with all this money and watch what they think is classy. And man, we put up with years with Debo and thinking he could dress. Oh my God, remember that? Watching Debo Samuel come around with all of that expensive crap on that he used to wear. Remember he wore that blimp skirt one time? Like, dude, these guys are just hilarious to me. And Brandon Ayuk is just the latest version of a guy he's going to get it way too late. He's going to get it way too late. And then we'll see him on a podcast somewhere doing what we do 30 years from now. I'm just telling you. So he's better wise. I'm saying to him, I'm talking to Brandon Ayuk through here like we are not on stream. He better wisen the fuck up. He better. Because he's not just blowing his money. Dude, you are blowing your life. You're killing your reputation. There is nowhere where you're going to be able to make this type of money for the rest of your life. He doesn't get it.
I don't even want to talk about him anymore. I really don't. Because it means nothing. It's not going to amount to anything. And anybody who hears this can be like, oh, you guys are just running him down. I don't even care. I don't even want anybody to be like, oh, we're running him down. Because it doesn't matter to me. But it's just It's sad more than anything.
Moving on.
Would you make this trade? We touched on this before, but would you make this trade? Vincent Bonsignori believes the Niners should trade 2027 first, 2027 second, and Michael Williams to the Raiders for Max Crosby. Would you make that trade?
No. Listen, man, Max Crosby is 29 years old. He's about to be 30. He's hitting at $30 million a year. His injury history is well noted. We already got an edge that we're paying over $30 million a year who has injury issues. I'm not worried about what the Rams did. You know, Nick Bosa is our guy. We're going to put young talent around him. That's why we brought Michael Williams on in the first place, right? To be able to get his pass rush together and help him build on and develop to what we already have as a great edge setter and a run defender. And the versatility of Michael Williams. We wouldn't get that out of Max Crosby. So, yeah, it'd be cool to see him with the tattoos and shit and everybody's a bro. And it looked good for a while, but I think we'd be in the same position of the Rams, which I don't want to be in their position. They've got very little room for error, and all of the expectations are on them to win now because they went and got a guy. So I don't know. I think that we need to see what the defense can do with all of the pieces that we brought in and when we're relatively healthy from where we were, which is dead last in pressure rate. You going to go get Max Crosby. Not only do I think it would be a bad move, but I think we would look a little weird. We'd look desperate.
Well, I'm done with the moves that are like the shortcut move. No more shortcut moves. Yeah. I don't believe in shortcut moves. Now, if you have three guys at one position and you want to consolidate them down to one guy that you think's better, okay, I guess you could do that. I'm not saying that there's no value in a great player versus bunches and bunches of good players. I get that, but I don't believe in the shortcut theory unless it's a really unique guy. Now the Rams got that guy. His name's Myles Garrett. But the Niners took a shortcut trying to go all in on Trey Lance. They think they kind of took a shortcut spending the kind of money they did on Javon Hargrave.
There you go.
And I don't really want to see them do that. I'd rather see them go to camp with a lot of depth, figure out who can play. And then if you want to make a move at the cut down for a veteran tight end, a veteran safety, a veteran D lineman, a better receiver, even a fifth running back, if you see some final piece to the puzzle that you think's really great, and that person's out there, yeah, I'd love to see them use their financial flexibility and cap room to bring in, one or two more pieces at the cut down to make them a better overall team. But the whole, I'd rather, if I'm going to trade a first and a second, I don't want to trade Mikel. I would rather trade Mikel and then no first, and I'll trade Mikel in a second and something else. But I'm not trading Mikel, who was a first, and a first.
That's and two firsts. Yeah.
I mean, not for a guy who, just failed the physical in Baltimore and we don't know about the knee and played super hard, played hurt. But eventually your body breaks. And
yeah,
veteran players, I like draft picks. Why? Because draft picks are the future. Draft picks you can draft you flexibility. And I believe in the ability to find guys. You go with these older guys and you're paying a price at their peak and their value is always going to go down. It's just about how fast does it go down? Does it go down really fast? Does it go down a little bit? Does it go down a lot? But it's like buying a house at the pinnacle of the market, the apex of the market, only to know that the market's going down. It's anytime you buy a car, you drive it off the lot.
It depreciates.
It's a depreciating asset instantly. So I kind of feel like trading for that veteran big name. There are great trades in the NFL that are made all the time for like strategic advantages here and there. And I'd be all for that, using some of your flexibility, using some of your money. But then there's the other kinds of trades, which are like, I want that item. And it's like somebody who's buying a a Bentley. They're not. You could, they're a buddy of mine bought a Bentley. Listen to this one. He buys a Bentley, and they send him the plates, and there's no place for a front plate, and so then he got a ticket for not having a front plate, and then he went back to the Bentley dealership and he said, "Hey, I got a ticket for not getting a front plate. What's your guys' solution? Do you guys?" He's like, "Yeah, the solution is you just keep paying your tickets."
Yeah.
We didn't design a front plate because we don't think it looks good. So so that's it. So basically, if you have the kind of money to have a Bentley, you got to have the kind of money to have repeated front plate violations as part of it. It's part of the tax that goes
accrued costs.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's part of the tax that goes with buying a Bentley is that you're not getting a front plate. You're going to get a ticket for not getting a front plate, and you got to pay the fucking ticket. So that's it. And that kind of inefficiency is exactly what happens when you go try to buy the most expensive item off the top shelf in the NFL. You're going to pay a premium.
Larry. So let me ask you this, Larry. What is the Rams version of buying their front plate now that they have Myles Garrett?
Well, they had a good defensive end who played the run really well. Now they're going to have a great defensive end, and we know he's a better pass rusher. But my guess is he won't play the run as well because Verse played the run really well. And then all of a sudden when they look up and they're like, man, our defense, we have 8 more sacks than we had at this point last year, and Myles is the reason. Oh, but by the way, we're also rated 8 lower spots in the run defense rankings because we made this move. And there'll always be some price to pay, in addition to, of course, the price in the draft, not having those picks down the road. But, Myles Garrett's an awesome pass rusher, a better pass rusher than Jared Verse. But Jared Verse was functionally very strong and really good against the run. We'll see if they're as good against the run without Verse. We'll see. I mean, it may be a nominal difference, or Myles Garrett might play the run even better in this team, and we don't know. But I'm just saying it's not. There's not all. I mean, there's always going to be some price to pay. My guess is it will be in the injury area where Verse is more likely to play. Like if we had to wager on who's going to have more sacks, we would wager Myles Garrett. But if we had to wager on who's going to play more games over the next 3 seasons, we'd probably go with Jared Verse.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and that's I love this conversation around the move because it gets you away from the shock and awe, and we get into what really matters, which is fit. How is it going to work? Right? How is this not only going to work, but be at a championship level? That's what the Rams have essentially said with this Myles Garrett move, that not only will he fit in and the chemistry will be seamless, but it's going to work at a clip that's better than what we have currently. I want to see that because Myles Garrett is going to be asked to do more than what he was asked to do in Cleveland. And I know that they're going to bend the knee a little bit. They're going to be malleable to help out Myles Garrett while he's with the Rams. But seeing Myles Garrett in a 2-point stance, if I'm an offensive coordinator, I test that. I want to see what he looks like playing into that drop at a 2-point stance. I'm singling him out. I want to see what it looks like.
49 Red Zone says Teslas don't have a front plate spot for a front plate either.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that. I mean, if I could add one piece to the puzzle, I think I would like to add Kyle Pitts. Why? Because I think Kyle Pitts has been this, but I think Kyle Pitts with Purdy in a 49er offense could be this.
Didn't they sign his deal? They signed him, right?
They signed him, but there's still a lot of speculation right now that they could move him. Atlanta, I guess, let me see. I think they're saying here that they might move Kyle Pitts. He signed a 4-year, I guess Drake London signed a 4-year, $141 million deal. Sources say the team is also engaged with the agents for Bijan Robinson on a major extension. So they're saying Pitts could be part of that plan too, but he's also scheduled to play on a $15 million franchise tag if an extension isn't done by July 15th. So what they're saying is if the Falcons extend Drake London, extend Bijan Robinson, and make Pitts play on the $15 million franchise tag, and that will be determined by July 15th, that he may be pissed and that he may want out. He's coming off a year where he had 88 catches, 928 yards, and 5 touchdowns.
82 PFF ranking, ranked 6th among the NFL tight ends.
They got a new coaching staff. They got a new front office. They may want to see how he fits the offense before committing. But he's an incredibly talented guy. He doesn't turn 26 until October. And they're saying maybe Baltimore, who lost Isaiah Likely and Charlie Kolar in free agency, may go after him. But, I mean, for the 49ers, I think a guy like Kyle Pitts makes a lot of sense. I really do.
My only thing about him, Larry, is that he's just a below-average run blocker, though. That's the only thing. He's not that physical. Yeah, so I think we would get a little more than what we've gotten out of George. We haven't had prime George in the pass game in a while. So I think that Kyle Pitts coming in would clearly give us more than what we've seen out of the tight end position for a couple of years. But just with blocking, I don't know. It's going to be an issue.
Or do you go for a Josh Oliver? Do you go for that blocker? Do you try to sign a really talented blocker? I'll say this: I talked to the tight end coach Cam Cleland, and I believe he really has high hopes for Dinkins as a blocker.
Yeah. What about your boy in Arizona? You floated this to me a while ago, Higgins.
He's a much more of a receiver too. Now that Garrett isn't part of the mix, you may want that backup tight end's greatest skill to be a blocker. I don't know. I mean, that would be my question. I mean, let's just say this: if you got into a game of substance, not week 1, of substance, let's say it's later in the year, against the Rams, and you didn't have Kittle, do you really feel good about Tonjes or Farrell blocking Myles Garrett? I don't. I feel like
no.
I'd rather have another blocker. Now, your idea of Enrique Cruz maybe is the best idea, but still now you're talking about a rookie tackle against, a tight end. He's basically a tight end. He would be a tight end. He'd be a blocking tight end. It's a big body, but
he's athletic. He can get out there.
There's no question he's athletic. There's no question about that. But I think that's what the Niners have to really think about. What exactly do they want to do with the tight end spot now that you've got Kittle, you've got Tonjes, you've got Farrell, you've got Dinkins, and you've got Myles Garrett in the division?
There's nothing going on with Hayden Rucci, is there? Or Braden Willis? They
were there. They're there. I mean, I just don't see much. I don't see much there. I was looking at the tight ends, and I was like, gosh, man, they're really thin at tight end. Considering the trend in the league is to have 4 and 5 tight ends. And, heck, I mean, if we wanted to show the Rams depth chart, the Rams at tight end this year, right now, this is what the Rams have at tight end. They have Colby Parkinson. They have Tyler Higbee. They have Terrence Ferguson. They have Davis Allen. They just drafted Max Clare from Ohio State, who's a very good receiver. And they've got 3 other guys. I mean, they have one. Yeah,
they got 2 UDFAs. 5, 6,
7. They've got 8 tight ends on their roster.
8.
And Higbee, Parkinson, Ferguson, and Clare are all probably would be like the second best tight end behind
on any team
behind Kittle.
The
Niners. So I mean,
they could play for anybody.
They got a lot of tight ends there, and that's why I was saying maybe Colby Parkinson gets cut, and that would be a great pickup for the 49ers. But I don't know if they want to wait around and take that chance. I think tight end.
One thing that I've noticed about their one thing that I've noticed about the Rams the Rams offense too, they don't have a lot of speed. There's not a lot of speed on here. They're going to be physical. They're going to be a physical team. You look at their receivers. You got Puka Nacua,
Mario
Devontae
Williams,
Adams.
That's about it. Of all
That's
those
about
receivers,
it.
of all those receivers they got right there,
Mario, exactly. And he's
Mario
like,
Williams.
That's it.
He's the last
Right?
guy in the depth chart. He might even make the team. Yeah,
Exactly. So
they had Tutu for all those years.
yeah.
They don't have Tutu. They don't have that vertical speed. Yeah, no, I agree with
Yeah.
you. The Rams are relatively, they're more of a powerhouse type.
They're a power team now if you look at what they've done.
Yeah, they don't stretch the field vertically. Now we'll see if they come up with somebody. All it takes is one player or two to have that vertical stretch. But yeah, they've got receivers who are intermediate type guys.
Yeah.
Their O line is definitely improved. Both
Yeah.
Alaric Jackson and Warren McClendon kind of gave them some good tackle play, and then Kevin Dotson, Steve Avila gave them excellent guard play. So they've got a pretty good offensive line. It's just
Can you imagine? Can you believe they've got Bo Limmer as a backup? Now that's a pick.
I know.
Bo Limmer as a backup. Come
He could
on.
be the starting center.
Yes.
I liked him at Arkansas, and he played in his rookie year. He was a 5th-round pick at Arkansas.
Yeah, he did it. We did a hell of a job. It's just, but they're a strong team. They're going to be methodical. You best believe they're going to work the hell out of these tight ends. That's kind of like their change of pace. But they're going to run the ball. Blake Corum, Kyron Williams, receivers. They just going to get open. Puka Nacua going to have him in that slot. Jordan Whitney's going to stay out there. And, Devontae's going to be their red zone guy. The Rams are just a solid team. They're very solid, very well built on offense. Defense, we got to see.
Yeah. No, it's a total wait and see thing on defense, and
2 brand new corners. Trent McDuffie and Jalen Watson have to turn out.
Right. And if they've played the way they have played in Kansas City in the past, it could be spectacular, but it could be ordinary too. They're also a little bit long in the tooth. On one cut I'm going to show you. I caught up yesterday with Alex Smith and did an interview with him, and he had this. This was probably the best soundbite that we had. So,
phenomenal fucking show, by the way, dude. You're amazing,
dude. It was fortunate. Let me play this one soundbite, then we'll react to it. Here is Alex Smith talking about Purdy yesterday. Brock does layer the football incredibly well, and he throws with a lot of anticipation. But what stands out? Because you see things that we don't see at the quarterback position. What stood out when you first saw him? What stands out as you've seen him develop?
Man, there's a lot there. Larry. Like, first off, you said it. I mean, this is a guy that I think, unlike me, again, I go back to I was a 20-year-old kid. I played 2 years at the collegiate level, every single snap in the shotgun. I never even had a tight end ever, right? Like, it was like 5 wides and such a unique thing. And here's a guy that had played 4 years at high level college, like super mature, had done so much. This guy was also, like, I think people forget, obviously, such a good athlete, right? Like, rushed for 1,000 yards. He's just seen a lot of football and was so prepared. And then again, like, to flip it on my position, right here, I am the number 1 pick. This guy's the last pick in the draft.
Right.
And on such a short leash, right? Like, you just don't. I was afforded to make 1,000 mistakes, right? And they still had to keep me around. And this guy's obviously just on the total other opposite end of that. And so, but so prepared, and I think had such great perspective on the game, right? Like, this is a guy that could already process and compartmentalize, right? I think given everything that he had been through, and I think naturally he's also just a super mature kid. Like anybody that's ever been around Brock, like, I'm blown away. Like, when I would talk to him for the first time, I'm like, are you like 35 or 40, right? Like, he just seems so much older. He has such great perspective on things. But since he's been playing, right? And this is what I think people just don't realize. This guy pushes the ball downfield. When you look at the down the field stats from a quarterback as far as attempts, completions, accuracy, I mean, this guy leads the league in the NFL every year in every one of those categories, right? And like, this is the guy that battled the game manager thing, right? Like, he's just a product of the system, right? It just couldn't be further from the truth. This guy's a phenomenal player. And you want to talk about risk taker, right? Like, to layer these balls over the middle, to throw them as early as he does, like, it takes guts, right? There's trust that you have to have, like, unflinching trust to turn these balls loose in an NFL game. Like, knowing your vision's obscured, right? You're hoping the guy's in there where he's supposed to be. And this guy just does it time and time again, right? And that's a gift. I know it took me a long time to ever develop that kind of trust and risk taking to play with that kind of anticipation. And this guy just has it, and it's super rare. Right. You even mentioned in practice, like you go out there, this guy's willing to try and make the plays and push the envelope. And I think it's truly special. Right. And then you combine that with, I think all Niner fans know it now, what a great athlete this guy is too in his own right. Like how good he is at extending plays. He can do the improvisation thing too, as well as play from the pocket.
Brock does a lot there from Smith, but great answer from Smith. I know there's a lot of people that don't like Purdy or whatever, don't think he's got the upside, think he still isn't the guy, and I get it, but man, I think he verbalized a lot of the strengths there. What'd you think of Smith?
I think that he's class personified. I love Alex Smith. I love everything that he did for our team while he was here. Also, really respected his career and the resilience that he showed in his injury here in Washington. That was a pretty brutal injury. And the way he came back from that, and just not even the way he came back, but it spoke more to me to see how organizations in the NFL were kind of bending over backwards to give him that time, right? To give him the opportunity to come back. That speaks more to Alex Smith as a man, as a person. You can see that people really root for him, as well as he roots for Brock. Now, talking about Brock and his stats with being a quarterback that pretty much leads the league in pushing the field, a ball down the field with deep passes and targets. The first actual number is Purdy's average depth per target in 2025, which is 8 yards per throw. That ranked 41st among quarterbacks, 41st. I don't think that he's a deep ball architect. I think he's a short to intermediate timing passer by design and by scheme. And I believe that a lot of the shots, or the explosives, if you will, are shots that are called by Kyle. So I just feel like the idea that he's leading the deep passes and that somehow proves his elite arm talent, I think it's a little more complicated than that. But, you know, it's good to be able to take the raw numbers and deduce how you feel about them.
I think when you look at those numbers of how accurate he is down the field, I think he hasn't thrown it down the field because he doesn't have guys. Because, like, I'm watching him in this mini camp, and now you've got a lot of people talking about the Niners safeties. Why? Because Brock Purdy is throwing the ball down the field at will in the mini camp and hooking up with Jacob Cowing, Jordan Watkins, Demarcus Robinson, Deshaun Stribling routinely down the middle of the field. And so I think a lot of people are watching that going, we have safety problems. But I think really the story here is that Brock Purdy has, you know, is at first and foremost is a competitor. So he wants to take shots down the field. That's in his nature, but he also wants to win. And so that's why I think the Niners offense, coach, is going to look dramatically different this year than last year. And I think it's all based on the receivers. I mean, we can talk about Kyle's scheme and this and that, but Kyle's scheme changes when he has different running backs. They run differently. And when he has different kinds of offensive linemen and when he has different kinds of receivers. And I just don't think you're going to see Jacob Cowing and Jordan Watkins running these in cutters that you saw from Juwan Jennings, who ran ins and outs and that kind of thing in the intermediate. But I think you didn't see the Niners throwing all these posts and goes to JJ or Bourne, but it's all based on the skill set of the receivers. I think Brock is accurate down the field. He's never had receivers who can get separation down the field. He does now, and I think he's going to have. I think this year he's going to put up big numbers. Like, I think he's going to put up like fantasy numbers and be that guy who wins games. And it's going to look different because he's going to attack. He wants to attack downfield. He just has never had the receivers to do it. Now he's going to have some separation. I think he's going to make the Watkins and the Cowings of the world look pretty good. We'll see.
Okay. I mean, and I can accept that, that it's not all Brock. Brock has receivers that, were worse than, I think we were ranked dead last, I believe, or pretty much there in separation for receivers. And I get that, but I also think that we can chew bubblegum and walk at the same time. Touting stats like leading in deep pass targets doesn't mean you're the best deep passer to me. That's just my opinion. All right. It means that defenses are giving you the deep shot. That's what it means to me. And why would defenses be giving Brock Purdy the deep shot? Because Christian McCaffrey is killing him out of the backfield, because George Kittle is running crossers and seams the linebackers can't cover, because Kyle Juszczyk is motioning every play before the play, and he's creating identification problems before every snap. The short game is so dangerous with this offense that defenses always are sitting back in soft coverage. And when they do that, the deep ball opens up as a consequence. That's not Purdy's arm to me. It's Shanahan's system doing its job. I think that Brock Purdy is inside of a system that is created for not only him to do his job, but if he does his job, the numbers will come after it, right? The metrics will come. Think about it this way. The 49ers led the NFL in yardage after catch for 6 straight years. And in that time, receivers were consistently getting open before the ball arrived, through designed route concepts and play action, and it displaced defenders before the snap. When a defense is already out of position because of a run fake, that deep ball Purdy throws isn't a tight window throw to me. It's an open field layup, to be honest with you, and that's the difference of skill set between the entirety from what Josh Allen can give you versus what we see from Brock Purdy.
I put up a Warren Sharp stat here, Coach. It says NFL leader in completion rate on passes 10-plus yards down the field. Purdy's been number 1 the last 3 years, which kind of goes to your claim that it's largely Kyle's system. I mean, he's been in this system the last 3 years. But I also think what you can say about Brock Purdy is just that, A, he likes to go deep, and B, he's accurate. I think basically just generally accurate. I also threw this question out to Mac Jones. I said, Mac, man, your receivers are quite a bit different this year. I get the feeling that it's going to look quite a bit different. And he said, I agree. He said, we have guys that can separate down the field, and we're going to throw them balls this year. So, I think Mac Jones got painted even more so than Purdy as the check down king, right? Oh, he's the check down guy. He's the check down guy. And I can understand why people would say that. But I think it has more to do with the weapons and less to do with Mac Jones being. I mean, I remember you're a Bama fan. I can remember Mac Jones throwing the ball down the field to Jerry Jeudy, down the field to Devontae Smith. I mean, when he had downfield receivers that got separation, he could make plays down the field. This check down thing was much more of a recent thing. And I think it was more Mac just going, hey, I got Kendrick Bourne, I got Juwan Jennings, I got a tight end in Kittle, I got a running back underneath. I don't have a lot of dependable speed down the field. Let's check it down. I think it's the smarter play. Now, this year with Stribling, Cowing, Watkins, a lot of guys that can run. If they wind up making the team and showing growth, I think you're going to see many more downfield passing plays. And I think ultimately the numbers could look really good for Brock Purdy. We'll see. I mean, he also could turn it over. But I think the more separation also leads to fewer picks, because if you don't get separation, every ball's a 50-50 ball. That's kind of where they've been the last couple of years. I thought the separation in the playoffs was horrible. Maybe the worst I've seen.
It was, and I think that I'm getting heat from some of the fans right now, and I get it.
For what?
It was the secondary was bad. I mean, the receivers, the separation was bad. But I just think that in order for you, every good Brock Purdy stat that comes out is warranted. I'm not trying to pettifog or try to tear down what the young man has brought, but it's just, for me, sometimes you just got to look at the entire picture. If you can look at the volume in 2025, like Brock Purdy had 12 big time throws, right? But he also had, and 316 dropbacks. But he also had 11 turnover worthy plays, like, and 316 dropbacks. Like, that's a 1-to-1 ratio, damn near. So,
But I mean,
can't sit here and say
in the game, you drop back to pass. You got behemoths tearing down there, coming after you.
Yeah.
Just because your receiver is glued to the receiver to the DB, you're still going to throw it. So
True.
I just think when you have no separation, turnover-worthy plays are probably more apt to happen. I will also say this in going the other direction. If you don't throw the ball with lots of velocity, I think you get burned, and it looks like unluckiness, but you get burned with your bad throws because they're the same way Brock Purdy throws a very catchable ball. He throws a very catchable ball for defenders too.
Yeah, for a pick too. Yeah, picks are catchable balls as well.
Or Stafford's ball's not as catchable, but it's also not as interceptable.
Mm-hmm. So hold on, wait a minute. Somebody said I'll listen. Chrissy 1687 said I'll listen to Mike Evans over Coach. Why? Mike Evans just got here. He doesn't know Brock Purdy more than I do.
Well, he's saying the same thing we're saying. He's saying the same thing we're saying. He's saying, "Hey, Brock Purdy throws a very catchable ball."
Yeah,
Brock. I mean, here's the other thing. I think it's funny that you mentioned Mike Evans because that's a great one.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Evans. I was listening to some of the comments the other day. Let me see if I can find this one. It's a really great one, Coach. We'll finish with this. Mike Evans was asked about why he came here, and he's like, Brock's one of the main reasons I came here. And when he said it, he made one comment that sounded like a slight at Baker.
What he said?
I don't know if you picked up on it. Let me see if I can find it real quick. He basically was like, let me see. He was like, he's talking about Brock Purdy. Okay, let's see. I don't see it there, but he was talking about Brock Purdy and basically said that he's all about business. He's all about business. And I think there might be some of that, Baker did all those commercials. Baker, I don't know, maybe it sounded almost like a slight at Baker. Like he was just like, that Brock is always, he's real low key guy, but he's very serious. He's all about business. And I get the feeling that maybe, there was a personality conflict between Evans and Baker. I don't know. I'm not sure about that, but the way he talked about Brock being mature and all very serious and all about business. Baker's not thought to be the most serious guy. Maybe those those two guys didn't necessarily vibe because how many Hall of Fame receivers do you see leaving their quarterback for a quarterback they've never played with? And then when he came here, he says, "Yeah, Brock's a major reason why I came here." Well, what does that mean? That how could you not take that as a slight against Baker Mayfield? Right?
I don't think it's a slight against Baker. I think it's a slight against the organization in a sense.
Okay.
I've tried to figure out what the skivvy was in Tampa that would have made Mike Evans leave because I don't think it's been given enough time. This is the equivalent of us letting Fred Warner walk out the door. He is Mr. Buccaneer over there.
I know.
Right? So it's a big
emotional.
deal.
It was like emotional.
It was emotional. It was a big deal. I think that a lot hasn't been uncovered in the true motive, why he wanted to leave. I think that there are things that probably arose during the season last year. He was out for a myriad of games with, I believe, a collarbone injury, came back and didn't necessarily have enough targets. It kind of looks like he got phased out in the offense, and really the emergence of Emeka Egbuka, Chris Godwin finally staying healthy, and Jalen McMillan really made Mike Evans seem expendable in Tampa. And I believe that there could be some bad blood as to why he left. I don't think that the Niners, I don't think that what we offered him, that's what they offered him in the Bucs, and he chose us over the Bucs. I don't believe that. I believe that he got a lower deal. They're because he's Mike Evans, they're protecting his cachet and his name by putting out what that deal was. And I believe that the Niners gave him something that he can be respected with. But I don't think that the Bucs wanted him.
Here's Baker talking about him. Here's what Mayfield does.
There's no way to sugarcoat it. It's disappointing to not have him back. Just the caliber of player he is. He's a Hall of Famer. Thought, deserved to be a Buck for life. Things happen, but luckily, him and I have a great relationship. We'll still be friends for life. And, I'll be cheering him on, except when we play them, if it comes down to it. But for Mike to leave, it allows Chris to step up. He's always been an unbelievable leader, but for him to really take charge of that room, and for the guys that, with all the injuries that we had, a lot of guys played last year, so to also have J-Mac, Chris, and Emeka really, really helped.
All right. Well, he just talks about his guys, but basically, he sounded kind of disappointed.
It's really weird, though, Larry.
Yeah,
you're talking about Chris Godwin taking over the wide receiver room finally. He's 30.
He's been there. Yeah, I mean,
like that didn't even make sense.
But a lot of times it's hard for players to accept they've lost a little bit, and sometimes you have to leave the room you're in and go to a new room. And I just think it's sometimes the healthier way to look at it. I mean, like they went and added Ted Hurst in the draft, right? They have Chris Godwin, Jalen McMillan, Emeka Egbuka. And now they've got this kid, Ted Hurst, who they really like. They also have Tez Johnson. Yeah. And it's probably the right move for them. They needed to kind of move on from Mike Evans and make Emeka Egbuka and Godwin probably the number ones. And they wanted to get younger, and this is what it looks like. So, I mean, it's probably him reading the room a little bit there, but my guess is that, he chose Brock, probably for a reason, and I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it works out with Mike Evans. I think Mike Evans is going to be really good for a year. I don't know how he's going to be after a year. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I think 1 year, maybe 2. This idea that I think he signed a 3-year deal. I don't think he'll be here 3 years. I'd be very surprised by that if he was. But you know what? If he can get them to be a team that's at the very top of the league in red zone touchdown percentage, man, he's worth his weight. He's worth his weight in gold. That's for sure. Coach, grilling anything today? What are we grilling?
Oh yeah, we got us. I did nothing big. We did a spatchcock chicken. So
now,
threw up a spatchcock
what's a spatchcock chicken?
It's just a term for how the chicken is prepared, how it's cut. So a spatchcock chicken is where you flip the chicken breast side down, and you.
What are we looking at right now? Is that that's breast side up though, isn't it?
That's breast side up. Yep.
Okay.
So you flip the chicken breast side down, and you cut in between the vertebrae. So that long piece at the bottom is the piece that I cut out. Okay. So you cut that. You cut it on both sides, and you cut out basically like a 1.5-inch strip of the backbone.
It's like you're butterflying the chicken with the bones in it.
And you butterfly it. So you turn it on its stomach. What you want to also do is take out the wishbone in the middle of the breast, and then you crack the sternum and flatten it out. So now you got yourself a whole good chicken that can get cooked evenly now, right? Because it's butterflied out. Yeah. So I got a drip pan under there just because I don't want any flare-ups. And I put some rub on there. I think we did chipotle lime with this, and threw it in there. And this is the easiest.
You went light rub, not a heavy rub, like a light.
I didn't go heavy. Yeah. I wanted to eat. I wanted to taste the chicken, so went light rub, and that's cooking now. It'll be done in like 30 minutes.
What's the accoutrement today? What are we having with it?
Oh man, so we got some carrot salad, we got some mashed potatoes, we got some broccolini, so we got some good stuff, man.
Dude, I can go with some broccolini. How do you do you do the broccolini on the grill, or do you do
I do it all on the grill. So I'll snatch this off, crank it up to like 500, and I got a grill plate, throw it down there, just char it all. It's phenomenal.
So my wife came to me. She's like, Father's Day's coming up. Would you like a gas grill? I've been doing charcoal forever. Her father is like Mr. Grill. Like he's got the green egg, he's got the pellet grill, he's got
all of it.
He's got it's a freaking. He could open his own barbecue spot in the backyard.
Right.
What do you recommend? What do you recommend for somebody who's only been doing the Weber? the big Weber charcoal grill forever. Now I'm going to have a second grill. What do I want my second grill to be?
Okay, you want a vertical smoker. That's what you want. So
I can hang stuff.
A vertical grill. So right
what are
now,
we looking at here?
Built,
what am I looking at right here? What are you cooking on here?
That's a Master Built Gravity 1050. So what you want is you want everything to be easy. Don't get away from charcoal, Larry. You're where you need to be. Don't go
I kind of like
gas.
That.
It does not taste as good. It's a pain in the ass, but it's you can't beat the flavor. So get a gravity smoker, okay? What you'll have is you'll have a hopper that's flipped vertically, right? Most hoppers are like pits where you could just put it in and it lays out horizontally and then the fire comes up. But with a vertical smoker, what you have is you have a chute that sits north and south. And what you do is, let's say you take your briquettes and your charcoal and you dump it into the reservoir. Now, all of your feed in the hopper, your fuel is standing straight up and down. Now you have gravity on your side. The fire happens at the bottom of the hopper. Once you start the fire at the bottom, the gravity of the weight of the grill will keep pushing the coals and briquettes down into the fire. There's a fan that takes the heat from the fire and then blows that smoke into your pit, right? So what you want is you want a vertical smoker, because you know what else you can do with a vertical smoker? You can use charcoal, you can use briquettes, you can use wood chips, you can use wood chunks, and you can use pellets. But if you use a pellet grill, you can't use any of that stuff. If you use a propane grill, you can't use any of that stuff. So go with a vertical smoker, and now, because you can use like 4 to 5 different fuels in that smoker. We're gonna talk. I got you. I'm gonna put you together.
Look at that. What are we looking at down here on the bottom? Is that charcoal or is that pellets? What do you got there?
No. Right now, that's just the bottom of my pit. So right now that's just the manifold down there that shoots out the smoke. Where the vertical smoker is that gate on the right hand side that you can barely see. That right on the right hand side.
Mm-hmm. I can see it.
Yeah, that's the hopper that sits north and south. So you want that hopper for the you want that vertical smoker because you never this is what you get out of it. You never have to worry about refilling fuel, right? Until the hopper is low. When you put in wood, which we already know, you can't cook with just wood. It's going to be too bitter. It's going to make the meat taste nasty. So you got to cook with wood chunks, right? What you do is you layer. So you put your wood chunks in first, 1 to 2, depending on what you're cooking. Then you put in the rest of your briquettes. Then throw in one more chunk on the way up. Now what you have is you've got almost kind of like a tiered cook, where as the copper's burning down your fuel, it'll hit that wood, and then you'll get wood pumping in, right? But at the same time, you really want to get the wood going early with a cold smoke, because the smoke doesn't actually adhere to the food for the first 5 hours. The first hour of the cook. Then it's pretty much just heating. It's just cooking. So really, that wood flavor that you taste, that smoke that you taste on the meat, that happens within like the first 30 minutes of the cook. Everything else is just literal heat.
Look at Richard Deere. He's like, I go at what Lombardi is talking about with Ayuk and come back and we're smoking. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So anybody who's looking at a grill, Master Built has a great one, but the vertical smoker, that's a technology that a lot of different brands have picked up. So when you get a chance, start looking for a vertical smoker, because you'll have so many different fuels you can cook with. You can cook with multiple fuels at the same time. Okay, so you can cook with briquettes and wood if you want to. So I use wood chips with the briquettes. So you get a vertical smoker. You'll thank me.
I like it. I like that idea. That's gonna do it for us. I gotta go. I gotta go start queuing. Let's see. Make sure we get all of our supers here. Blood Moon. Can we trade for Verse and get Pitts and the Super Bowl? Yeah, I mean that would be great. I don't think you're going to trade for Verse anytime soon. Mendez says, "Man, let's get Jalen Carter. The Eagles were trying to trade him to the Browns, and he's younger than Max Crosby." Ooh, I wouldn't mind Jalen Carter, but what are you going to trade?
Oh, Eric, the Master Built has a pizza oven. I've got a built-in pizza oven with this grill and a rotisserie.
We got this one too from you. Got another question for you, Coach. Steve says, "Coach, you worked security before. How would you secure New York City during the finals? Crowds, chaos, celebrations, prevent it, or just clean up after? How would you? You got the President of the United States going to the NBA finals.
Jesus,
there's gotta be what all kinds of different metal detectors. I mean, there's metal detectors for football games, right?
Yeah.
But now there's got to be more than that, right?
The prep is unreal. The biggest thing when you have somebody or a dignitary or an official or somebody or an asset rather, just an asset at high value, a HVA, a high value asset that is in a building surrounding a lot of people. The biggest thing is you want to make your own building for that asset. So every aspect of the building needs to be mapped out. We need to talk about liaisoning with EMT, the National Guard if they have one over there, the police department, the shift chief, the lieutenant on call, the backup, who's on SWAT, just anything where Armageddon could happen. That's number one. Two, we need to make sure that our people are in there before their people get in there, which means that designated optics for our HVA, designated security for our HVA, designated routes, designated bathrooms, designated parking, making sure that if anything happens, I mean, we're not even talking about the crowd. We need to be built for anything as trivial as a natural disaster. We got to get him out the building.
Yeah, or just anybody brings
if he's sick,
any kind of smoke bombs or anything that we could somehow.
Yeah. So you're not going to stop anything. That's one thing you got to understand. You're not going to stop anything. Can you prevent? Can you prepare your ass off? Yes. And be ready to have a good night. But the strongest plan is a plan that can be aborted within the blink of an eye. That's the strongest plan. Because I've been in situations where we had good plans and the last thing that we didn't have was an abort, right? To say that this is FUBAR. Right now, we're not only jeopardizing our HVA's health, we're hurting ourselves. We need to get out of here. So the biggest thing is to get inside of a building and have all of your bells and whistles and people in tow and look at the whole landscape and be able to say, I'm not feeling it. And everybody not blink an eye and say, all right, well, we're gone. Let's go.
Lots of planning. Too Much Sauce says, will Jalen Brunson be the real king of New York if they win? They haven't won a title since 1973. I mean,
yes, he will be.
He's going to be the king, and then some. Chencho says, am I delusional for thinking this 49er team is significantly better than last year, especially in the wide receiver room and D-line? No, I don't think so. I think this team is better. I think they're quite a bit
significantly better, though?
Yeah, I think they're significantly deeper in the D-line. I think they're significantly better in the wide receiver room because I think there's so much more speed and big playability here. I just think they have last year they had no ability to have any kind of quick strike ability down the field. Now they do. They have that. That's going to do it for us. We're going to bolt for the door. Good stuff here. Sorry that we didn't get more time on a Saturday, but Coach, sorry for your loss. Thank you for making the time and jumping in with us, and thanks to all you guys for being here. One last thought before we go. Thank you to our sponsor Alomar. The Alomar is sponsoring the Greg Cosell segment on the Krug Show this year. That's right. We're gonna have Greg Cosell with us every week starting like next week. So thank you, Alomar, Sacramento sports game day destination, Alomar Marina, best kept secret in Sacramento. Float while you dine on the Sacramento River. They're at 5999 Garden Highway. Their website is alomarmarina.net. Voted best specialty cocktails in Sacramento. Check them out if you're up there in Sacramento. You are going to love that spot. And that is going to do it for us. Coach, I'll give you the final word before we bolt for the door. Hope everybody has a fantastic week. One of the things I'm doing differently on the channel, Coach, is, I always do a lot of videos every day, but between now and training camp, I'm just going to find the one either story or article or whatever that I think is interesting, and we'll do a little video on that between now and training camp, because there's always stuff going on, but not enough to do necessarily huge things on it. But we'll do at least one video every single day. But I'll give you the final word before we bolt for the door.
Brian King Jr., 24 years old, one of the greatest young men that you would ever meet if you had the chance to be in his presence. We love you. We wrap our arms around you, and we know that you are in a better place. Rest easy, young man. We love you.
Peace.
Yeah, never met a man I've been scared of. Careful, you gon' get exactly what you asked for. Careful.